I'm going to pull up some notes because, as always, oh my god, that's bright. Holy cow, that is really bright. Hey, guess what? We're playing Alien. I'm Omar Krieg. This is the Krieg Dominion. I am totally ad-libbing my intro because I don't know how to do an intro anymore, especially even with my notes. So, whatever. This is Beyond the Frontier, an Alien RPG campaign. With me are, of course, my wonderful players, Rodance, Kane, and Luke. I think I did the order slightly out of order there. But this is episode 2 of Beyond the Frontier, entitled Platte Outpost. Let's take a moment, check in with our players, see what's new and exciting for them over the last week or so since we were last together. Rodance, what's new for you? Or do you need a moment? It's okay to say you need a moment.
My life is currently two things. My brother, who is an over-the-road trucker and visits truck stops all over the eastern half of the country, brought home some variety of cold, and now I have it.
Oh,
And he is, yeah.
That bastard.
And two, it's now been more than a month since my refrigerator worked, and the appointment that I was supposed to have to fix it yesterday, they no call no showed on me, and and the little automated system rescheduled it.
There is a sign.
I called them and I called them and complained to the poor phone person, politely.
Yeah.
And told them, you need to fix this because this is utterly unacceptable. Like, this has been now more than a month and you've already been out 3 times. And this last time was literally waiting for a part that you guys have now had to order on 2 separate occasions because you keep losing it.
Oh, right.
In some circles, a no call, no show will get you fired. You will never come
I want
to
know when they scheduled the next appointment?
I'm going to go with something ridiculous like in the medical
September.
World. Yeah, September. That sounds like a reasonable answer.
The 19th.
It's like 2 weeks from now.
More than 2 weeks.
Just over 2 weeks.
It's still pretty bad. Pretty bad.
No, I mean, even next week would be bad. So, in the meantime, what have you been doing to keep your food cooled?
Basically, my freezer half of the fridge still works because it's on the bottom right next to the compressor.
That's right.
So my pre-made meals and all that stuff are in the freezer. I have a little itty bitty tiny mini fridge, just big enough for like a drink or a coffee creamer.
Let me guess, it's currently being occupied by a coffee creamer? DoorDash.
Yes. You guys might not be able to see that, but this is Sonic.
I saw the logo.
Yes.
The hedgehog?
No,
the people who will put vanilla syrup in my Coke.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Oh yeah, I see little stickers for DoorDash.
Luke?
Oh, these are the don't lose the lids sticker.
Yeah.
It keeps it from popping off.
During delivery.
Luke, what's new and exciting for you?
2 things.
Okay.
One, there's the tournament that's happening in just a few weeks, June 14th. That's going to be super exciting. I'm hoping to do anything better than 0. And that'll require showing up, I guess. The other thing is I didn't do 0. I did my first my first exam of my AP math, I guess.
Okay.
With 77.
Nice.
Yeah.
Passing is what matters.
Passing is what matters, and I'm exhausted. So I crammed that book in about 5 days, and I gotta cram 2 more books in probably about 10-15 days.
But you said you're exhausted, and my whole body was just like, I know the feeling.
Feeling that, yeah.
I'm always exhausted now. It's so annoying. I swear to God, ever since I stopped smoking back in January, I am I get these super sleepy moments where I'm just like, holy shit, I am fucking super sleepy right now.
Yeah, because you're not distracting your sleepiness with something else.
That's what I think it is.
October.
Because, I mean, back then, in my smoking time, especially certain points along the drives, I just have a cigarette. Oh, I'm getting a little sleepy. Let me smoke a cigarette. By the time I finish a cigarette, I'm not sleepy anymore. Or if I am, then I'm like, okay, maybe I should stop and take a little cat nap or something.
Yeah. I know the feeling because I had stopped in like October, November too. So
Yeah.
we stopped around the same time actually.
Yeah, January. I went back at one point because I was counting the days, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. And I went back, and I was like, nope, actually, it was January 20th. Coincidentally, and not at all related in the decision-making process, Inauguration Day.
Oh,
Yeah, so. Anything else?
that's all I got.
Okay. I almost said Luke again. I don't know why I keep getting you two confused. It's just really annoying for me that I still do this from time to time. Kane, who has been in a show where I also am a player, and I still get him confused. But Kane, what's new and exciting for you? I don't know. I think he's muted.
I am.
Ah.
Not much. Not really. I mean, all the same stuff that I've been working on, none of it's resolved yet, so I'm still working on things, but
Enjoying your summer respite from the collegiate educational standpoint?
waking up at 1 in the afternoon is nice.
Yes, it is.
I get to the point when I have
That is
enough,
nice.
when I have a number of days off in consecutive days off, I should say. I have to be super careful that I don't flip my sleep schedule, because it's easy as hell for me to stay up late, and then because I stay up late and I go sleep 6 to 8 hours, next thing you know, I am now a night owl, and I might as well just go do night shift things. So I have to be super careful. Like my whole adult life, anytime I like go on leave, and what's the first thing I want to do? Stay up until 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock playing video games. Next thing I know, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, I should really get to bed. And also, in a few days, I need to flip my schedule back. So, yeah, waking up at 1, it's great until you realize that eventually you have to go back to the real world.
Hmm.
In my experience, anyway. Not necessarily. Kane, you could obviously tell me to fuck off and do whatever you want to do. It's your life. I got your back, bro.
I mean, it's not like I have to change my sleep schedule in 3 days.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Let me tell you, when you have leave for like only a week, it sucks. You get just enough time to screw up your sleep schedule, and you're like, I need to spend the next few nights fixing this, and then your leave's over. I had a first sergeant when I was in recruiting duty. His philosophy for your taking your leave throughout a year, because usually as recruiters we weren't allowed to take more than about a week off at a time without special exceptions because we were always on mission. And so his suggestion was every quarter take 7 days off, except for Christmas. Then you take 10. Somehow this becomes just shy of 30 days of leave, which is the amount of leave that every service member gains every year. So if you follow this routine throughout the calendar year, you will never have what's called use or lose leave, which is if you have so much leave built up, you have to use it within the fiscal year, or you lose it. You don't get it because you're over the cap. Anyway, it's a bunch of administrivia bullshit. Let's play some Alien, shall we?
Ooh.
We're not going to do previously on. I think we're going to start doing cold opens. And I even had a really crazy idea where we start the stream without the intro bit and just do a cold open and then later do the intro bit. I don't know if that's going to work. It's going to be wild if we did that. It also feels like I'm trying to game the system a little bit, because somebody watching the YouTube videos could be like, wait a minute, go back to the beginning. I missed the beginning intro part. You know, the interesting stuff. Well, I don't know if anybody ever finds our little chit chats here interesting, but
I think you would find that incredibly difficult to do.
Hashit says I could just go night shift. I actually applied for a job for the night shift position, but it was Amazon, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. Not me, like, doing the job for a few days and then they let me go. It was anytime they tried to call me and I was already out looking for a job and stuff, so I would miss the call. And so I was like, well, fuck it. I guess I'm going to go work for FedEx now. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
we begin our current episode. I will present a brief scene snapshot, so to speak, and then you guys figure out what you want to do from there. We arrive as the ship comes out at FTL and the crew begins waking up. The ship is in the outer parts of the system, heading towards the third planet, where a small research facility was once located. And near the bottom of the screen, we get the letters and numbers KOI 323.08. This is Platte Outpost. Yeah. Oh my god. Platte Outpost. I really do know how to speak. You guys have heard me talk for hours and hours at a time. You know I can speak. Don't look at me like I don't know how to speak. I'm gonna
Did you say platypus?
I very well could have. I'm gonna drop a handout for you guys in our private Discord. This will give you some info regarding the little bit of information you currently have, or what you will pick up as your scanners and sensors and daughter starts peeking around the system as you move in towards your planet. Give me just a second so I can get to it.
Okay.
All right, there is a Word doc in Discord entitled Platte's Outpost. I said it again. Fuck it. You know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully I took all the spoiler information out because I literally copied and pasted that from my notes.
Oh, that's great. It's all in Chinese.
Serious? That's a really cool trick, but I'm pretty sure I only speak English. And questionably at that.
I'm not even. Yeah, I'm just gonna screen cap that because
Is it really?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not joking.
Did you... It opened up just fine for me.
I opened it up with
Same.
Notepad.
Oh, did you? Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't
All right,
do
what am I
that.
supposed to open it up with?
Word document.
I don't have Word.
What?
What are you talking about? I'm Canadian.
That's not an American exclusive system. In fact,
Alright, give
it's
me a
used
second.
all over the world, brother.
All right.
The free option is Open Office.
I could
Open
not
Office?
think of it
Okay.
fast enough.
Yeah.
I was thinking it. I just couldn't think of the
All
name.
right. Open with Notepad. Choose a
I
letter.
think like a rich text
Maybe
viewer or
this?
something like that will work too.
You'll need to go download Open Office because it's a open source software.
Yeah.
All right. It's now in binary. That's great.
Hey, Omar,
yeah.
why don't you save it as a PDF and send it? Because he probably already has the PDF viewer.
Let's see how. Oh, save as Adobe PDF.
Oh,
I was gonna say I could also like hop into on the Discord and you can screenshot me.
oh yeah. Okay.
I mean that
I
works
mean,
too.
whichever one works.
All right. I have the PDF. Give me a second. Should be.
It's probably considerably larger though than the 15 kilobytes. That's probably the problem with the PDF viewer.
All right, PDF
Oh
is
yeah,
in there as
100 and
well.
whatever.
Oh yeah. Holy shit, that made it huge.
Oh god, I have text now, and it's not even that much comparatively.
Yeah, it's
so
only
that was
like
a
2
lot
or
of
3
binary.
pages. It's like 2.5 pages of text, and most of it's like question marks.
It's like a page in 3 lines.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how we went from 15K to 120K. Damn it, Adobe! No wonder I have to pay $60 a month for your fucking bullshit. Anyway, let's get back here. So you are
So now that I
currently
have
en route
that,
to the third planet of the system. That information you have there is kind of like what the information you're picking up like on the way in and cross-referencing it with historical information regarding like the colony and stuff like that. Again, you just and for the viewers as well. So Platte's Outpost is a world of steam vents and hot springs, scientific outpost. This scientific outpost is home to aerobic microfauna and small plant-like organisms. And at one time, roughly 50 researchers called this place home. It is a pretty, to say unstable, violent, volcanic plate tectonics might not be a bad call. But I want you to imagine a world with let me see, was this the Blue Star world? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to imagine nothing but gravel for miles and miles and miles and miles, right? Relatively flat, like rolling plains and stuff like that, right? Gravel, rocks, boulders. Except instead of gray, there's a very clear blue layer, so to speak, to everything from the sun. And of course, a lot of that light is being diffused because all the steam and dust. So actually, as it turns out, a blue similar to this color right here on my zoom thingy is probably what you see, like when you look up at the sky and stuff like that. Now, along the horizon, varying distances and whatnot, are a number of mountains and volcanoes. And as your ship comes through the upper atmosphere towards the planet's surface, towards the location of the actual facility, Platte's Outpost, you will see that this colony was established at the base of what appears to be a semi-active volcano. And by semi-active, I mean there's steam vents all around the not necessarily in a ring, like nice neat ring, but like all over. There's steam vents. There's ruptures and fissures in the surface. Periodically, you just get like little mini geysers and stuff like that. I will give you guys a moment. You don't necessarily have to go straight to the planet's surface right away. If you guys want to have a quick scene, either amongst yourselves or with the other NPCs, you could talk about what the information you're coming up with, figure out like a game plan. Obviously, as the captain, Warren is probably going to want to, hey, all right, well, there's the facility. We're going to go down there, but like, let's think about what we're going to do when we get there, or whatever.
You're gonna have to wake Octavia up out of
Yes, we
tryout
are.
and see if she's having a good or bad day today.
Yes, we
Yep.
are. Why don't you go ahead and make that roll now for us, please?
Just to pass it, eh?
Oops, wrong one. That's the one I want. Yes, she has to pass it, otherwise she is in melancholy or something like that. Hey! She plays well with others
functional.
today.
Oh, thank God, because otherwise I was gonna have to go hide someplace, and you guys are going to have to physically drag her out of the ship.
Oh, wow.
And as the resident scientist, they kind of need you because you got to do some sciencey things.
Yeah.
Theoretically. Anyway, I leave it up to you guys. You have, of course, your personal player characters, and then, of course, your entire crew.
Well, I have two things I need to do.
Would you
First
like to go
is-
first?
I'm just saying I got two things I need to do.
Okay.
I think when we're like defrosting and all that, I'm gonna follow Octavia and start asking questions. Like once we clear the bay, I'm gonna follow her to the sciencey area. Just be like, I'm supposed to help you and the prospector. What's your objective here?
Well, first objective is to get to the lab, see what daughter has picked up for me, and then examine the results, and that'll tell me what type of equipment we need to take down there. I mean, she probably already has a suggestion, but obviously we validate that because it's a daughter, of course.
Oh, that's
Not
your
that we
thing.
really ever trusted mother.
No, I don't trust daughter.
Mhm.
So just whatever stuff you have to bring to the lab to figure out the labs. That's your job.
Yeah, so based on the profile of the planet before we got here, we're not likely to run into hostile animals and the like. And unless the scientists went psycho or their descendants are crazy, we really shouldn't see crazy people. And that means you're probably going to be focused on monitoring a couple of environmental sensors just to keep an weather eye out while we're examining things.
All right.
Because
Well, I'm gonna go talk to the prospector.
yeah, because somebody has to keep an eye on things and pay us extra attention in a highly unstable environment like that's going on down there. And
So you're going to go look for the prospector.
Yeah. As soon as Octavia stops talking, Pike just turns and he's like, okay, next task.
Yep. You will find your prospector individual. Her name is Emily Quintana. It is spelled Quintana, but because she is of Hispanic descent, I'm gonna go with it's Quintana. She is in. I'm actually looking through the ship right now to see where she probably would be once she gets up and moving, and you know, starts prepping for her responsibilities. So give me just a quick moment here.
As a point of curiosity,
Yeah.
for the maps that are the different decks of the ship,
Uh-huh.
do you want to set those to be visible on our bars as well, so we can
Yeah,
flip
that's a
between those?
great idea. How do I do that?
And the top, right click on it, go to the settings, and it should be like visible to.
Configure. Um, am I doing it from like I have them set on mine to be at the top, so I can
Yeah.
always switch to them.
If you right click on it on the top and go to the settings there, one of the tabs should be visible too, and it should right now you should be saying GM only.
Yeah, yeah.
Change GM only
Uh,
to everybody for those.
Oh, permissions. Is it all players permissions? Is that what I want?
For the scene, yeah.
All right. So,
Oh,
do you
wow.
guys see the C deck?
Yes.
All right. So that's
No.
what I need to do. If you
I do, but I don't have any tokens on it.
Yeah, so just like
So
once you
okay,
make
so
them all
for that I
visible
gotta
to us,
so
just
for
put
that I have to
everybody's
do
tokens up.
the lighting and turn off token vision, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about now, Luke? You
Oh,
able to
yeah.
see it? Okay. All right. Got it. Sorry, viewers. I am learning a little bit about how this works, so give me a second here. Yeah, because you guys should be able to wander around the ship decks as you
So
feel pertinent.
for navigating these, um, if you the map that we're the map that's active, the one that's got like the big target in it,
Uh-huh.
will be visible to everybody because you have that scene active.
Okay.
Any of the
Oh,
other scenes that are available to us, we can freely go between the ones that are visible to us and the active scene.
okay.
So
So
we
right
can
now
bring
you
our
get the C deck is active, but you guys can always look at A and B whenever.
right. So go ahead and activate the map, the space map for what we were looking at the beginning of the session,
Let's see. That was.
Oh, yeah.
the star map.
Yep. Give me a second. I gotta remember where that one is.
Okay, after looking at the decks, Prospector Lady probably is using one of the science bays, even if her equipment's normally down in cargo.
There. That's the one you wanted, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
right now we can see that in the navigation bar because it's active. So we can come back to that map when we're done looking at the ship for our own questions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
So we can navigate ourselves.
that is super cool. Thanks
And
for
then
buying me time.
Rodance, you were saying that Quintana is probably in one of the science bays or something like that. Getting ready to.
Yeah, she wouldn't have all she probably is in the environmental science bay with me, actually, because I would have walked into there because she probably wants the same initial readings I do, but
Yeah,
for different
I think
purposes.
that makes sense because she would either be in there or she would be down in like one of the lander bays, getting ready, like
Mhm.
throwing her gear together.
Well, honestly, what I see is Kane and I get there first, and
Wouldn't
as Kane's
sensors
going to
be in
leave to
the
look for her, she walks in.
wouldn't sensors and everything else be in the tactical ICO comms sensors and all that stuff in the command post?
Yeah, that's where the ship sensors are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think the science labs would also be getting like I think they would be
I would have to be
feed
getting
of some
readings from them
sort.
somewhere.
Yeah, I think
But
there
I
would be a
mean,
Yeah.
feed program there.
realistically, if they're only in the tac center, then we would have gone to tac command instead of science. In either
Yeah, okay.
case, Emily would eventually meet us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah. So, yeah, I think she's in one of the science bays, like science. What I'm just gonna say, well, science 1, 2, and 3. I feel like those are labs, and then there was another one that was actually more of a.
I mean, that's kind of what it is. Science 1, 2, 3, and then the Class D science boat.
Mhm.
Okay, then we are all and then Kane and I would have walked up to the TAC command to look at the sensor readings, and right as Pike goes to find her, she probably walks in.
Yeah. Yeah, she comes in. And I feel like she's probably got. No, she wouldn't have a backpack slung over one arm, but she would have like a tool belt with like. I don't even know if she has a sidearm or not. Evidently she doesn't. Yeah. So she's got her. She's got. I want you to picture like a big Texas 10-gallon hat with a drawstring. Like the safari hats. You know, I know you know what I'm talking about when I say safari hats, Kane.
You know, the boonie cap.
Yeah, the boonie cap. Yeah, I could not think of that word either. But she's got her little sombrero on, or it's probably not exactly a sombrero, but you get the idea. And she's got a tool belt with various tools and pouches and whatnot. Looks a little rough down there. I want you to imagine she's probably speaking with a Spanish accent of some sort, and I'm not going to be able to pull one off.
Hey, because this is a callback that I haven't used since like mission 1 of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
He's going to look at her and just start speaking in Spanish. Because remember, Pike knows Spanish.
Yeah. She's going to give you the, oh, look, a white boy trying to, oh, his Spanish is actually pretty good.
Yeah, he actually.
For a white boy.
He's very good at Spanish.
She just looks at you. She's like, I'm going to call you gringo. You're going to be okay with that.
Says, I come from a place where you don't choose your nicknames.
Right. So it's quite a bit shaky down there. Shake and bake, maybe? Or not careful?
Weather's good. Looks more like a tripping hazard than anything else.
Tripping hazard. That's a funny way to say unstable plate tectonics.
He shrugs.
I grab a scene of the active volcano currently going off downstairs and I pop it on the screen for her.
Yeah, and I feel like that one is going to be...
That's a tripping hazard.
I feel like that's definitely gonna be a volcano that you could see along the horizon line once you get to the base.
So I'm your scout. I'm gonna help you however you need me to help you.
Okay. Well, this just I guess you could pass me tools as needed. I don't know. Listen, I feel like this is going to be one of those great opportunities for us to get rich as long as we don't let that ICC fucker get in the way. So let's just go find all the good shit, dig it up, and get the fuck out of here before something hot and glowy lands on us.
Just like he's nodding along.
It's like,
Nice and
yes, this sounds like a great idea. I like this idea.
Yes, he says, nice and simple. I like it. I think we're going to get along.
And then at about that point, Tan Blatchman, I think that's his name, pops in.
That was.
Yeah. And I want to imagine he's got similar to, if you remember Kent Gannon, his little corporate safari gear. Yeah. I want you to imagine that's what Tan's got on. Except his isn't full corporate bullshit safari. Like, this might actually be somewhat practical. But definitely looks like it just came out of a plastic bag not long ago.
He better have like an enviro suit because Jesus, it's gonna suck down there without one.
Let's see, what does he?
It says it's temperate. It's a breathable
temperate?
atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's just going to be hot near the volcanoes, but it's otherwise.
Yeah, okay.
I think we get.
I was imagining a more blue and glowy territory, but you're right.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, to be clear, the blue light, where everything's shifting from gray to gray blue or steel gray blue, is because of the local sun.
Yeah.
And of course, all the dust and steam and whatnot being cast up into the air, diffusing some of that light. So it's not like super bright light. Think of like overcast, but also dusty conditions almost near constantly. I think Blatchman is actually the one that points this out in a strange, unexpected sort of way. He's like, well, that is an active volcano, and it looks like there are several within a continental range nearby. That can throw some interesting fumes into the air, so maybe having rebreathers on hand, if not on face, is not a bad idea.
Look over at Octavia.
I'm not here yet.
You're gonna issue us
I point a-
respirators.
I put a thumb at him and go, "Yep, that's what I'm checking the readings on to see what type we need."
Now,
I like this guy. He's on the same page. I say
Hi,
that
Fred.
while he's standing there.
I like how you're like, I like this guy. Meanwhile, in the first scene I meet him, I threaten to punch him in the face.
No, actually, I think you.
I actually know this, and I'm saying it looking at Heath dead in the eyes, and then I wink a little at Heath.
Okay.
We've got two alliances building here: Prospector
says
and
stuff.
Scout and Science.
I
and
love it. I love the
ICC.
dynamic between the
I mean,
crew.
As soon as that wink happens, Pike is now convinced, regardless of whether he's right or wrong, that you are planning the long con to fuck with him.
Somebody has to play nice with the ICC inspector, and it's most likely going to be me.
I think about this time, Dudge. Hold on, let me double check that. I may get his name.
The other
wrong.
pilot.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, Dudge is his nickname.
Yeah.
Dudgeon, or it was Andy Dudgeon, also called Dudge, and Finn, both enter the command flight deck, whatever you want to call it, and move up to their stations. And
Yeah, they actually pass through the tax center to get to the flight deck, I think.
yeah, where just so I'm
Wait,
not
Nav-
stupid. Where's the
Nav-
tax center at according to the map? Because I
Nav
see
and
the
pilot are at the front.
It's
Yeah.
that briefing.
Yeah.
Are we
Nav-
talking Hollow's table or a briefing room?
I feel like you guys
I'm
would probably
assuming-
be sitting around maybe the hollow table, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's what I thought, because they literally
Yeah.
are walking past us.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could definitely do this in the briefing room if you want to.
No. We went to the sensor station on the
Yeah,
bridge to
I
get
feel like I
readings.
feel like the three of you.
But yeah, I was
Westcott-
at the sensor station and I was kicking stuff over to the hollow table for them.
Yeah, I feel like you're sitting at the station, and then Pike is leaning over one side of the chair. Quintana is leaning over the other side of the chair, talking about how, they're gonna make a lot of money and piss Blatchman off. Blatchman comes in, he's kind of standing by the hollow table, just kind of looking at everything, and he's like, "That's a volcano," and you're all like, "Yeah, we know what a volcano looks like." He's like, "No, that's not my point. I meant that volcanoes can spew fumes as well as lava."
Yeah, so I give Finn a fist bump as he walks by, and then I move over to the hollow table because I'd sent all the data over that I wanted to talk about and show people.
And then Dudge and Finn come on and they take over the pilot and nav stations, and Dudge kind of looks back over his shoulders and, "Hey, anybody seen Cap yet? I think it's about time we start getting this thing down below."
I can go get him if he doesn't show up.
I don't have an angle for me to just kind of like. I was here this whole time.
Oh, you
but,
want a captain? You want a Star Trek spinny chair?
I don't have a spray chair. I got it.
You do
Yeah, so
have
I'm
a
gonna
captain's
saunter-
console, even though it's spelled completely wrong.
That Capiane.
Capiane console. Or you could just
That's
enter
great.
the
That's
flight
great.
deck.
Yeah, I'm just gonna enter through here. You're gonna hear me clank. Probably at this door here. Click open.
Yeah,
And in I go.
it'll do the shh.
Yeah. Morning crew. What's
It's aliens. So it's...
Oh yeah, the hydraulics have to be a little bit closer to the 1990s than the 23rd century.
Yeah, these
All right,
doors
so
are
morning crew.
pneumatic.
I see you're all acquainting yourself with the hollow table and the sensors. We're approaching our first planet fall.
Yeah, look at it, Cap. It's big gray and lots of red. And I want you to imagine as you can look through like the forward viewport, you get the big long slow curve of the planet, and a lot of it is blue-ish, like a blue-gray, and then of course there's a portion that's obviously in the dark side of the planet. But every now and again, like everywhere, you see these little red dots, almost like pimples. Maybe not quite that
Their
big of
problem
scale.
with
but
that much volcanic activity, it's probably literally an ash cloud in the sky.
I was just
So.
thinking the same thing. I was like, actually, you might not see a whole lot. You might see a
We
few.
aren't going to be able to see a whole lot.
Yeah, you might see a few, but I think
Oh.
there's a lot of gray wispiness over the continent.
Permanent
Depends on what's coming up
sunset.
too.
Permanent sunset coloration in sky due to dust and steam vent releases.
Yeah, okay.
It's
So it is that
tended to
kind.
be bluish in color.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real quick before I forget too, just to kind of give you guys a bit of a familiarization, as you guys recall from your brief perusals of the BBW book, which I'm absolutely going to call it that from now on, one of the options that you guys will have throughout the course of this campaign is colonial management. Now, towards the end of this document, it says regional terrain and resource potential. So, kind of a quick
Yes.
tutorial for you guys and the viewers. This might be boring because you don't have a visual aid here, but each planet is broken down into 7 major geographic sectors. You have you have the North and South poles, you have the equator, and then you have basically 4 quadrants: Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, and Southeast. So, effectively, you have, in the Northern Hemisphere, you have 1/2, and then the other half, in the Southern Hemisphere, 1/2 and 1/2, and then, of course, the equatorial band, and then the 2 polar caps. Does that make sense so far?
Mhm.
Each of those areas, each of those 7 zones, will have a major terrain feature, for lack of a better thing to call it, right? So, for instance, on this planet, the equator is active volcanoes and lava fields, and it has that +1. In other cases, it's a +0 or -1 or whatever, and then it says poor. That final plus or minus number, that final number on each line, is used as part of your colonial stats. So when you create a colony, that number gets tied into one of your actual colony's stats. The colony will have stats similar to how your characters will have stats. And this number, based on if you put a colony, let's say, in the equator, it's going to have a -1 modifier to one of its stats. If you go with the South Pole, for instance, because of the frozen tundra and snowstorms, you're actually going to have a -2 modifier if you try to put a colony there. So
Yeah.
when you're looking over these regional terrain and resource potential paragraphs, categories, whatever, if you're trying to think about where to put a colony, the higher that final number is for each section is the better suited location.
Ooh, fog banks and coastal archipelagos.
Yep. Don't get me to say that word. I hate that word. Kate knows what I'm talking about.
I was trying to find a natural way to force you to say it.
I
and
thought
I
you
was-
would be.
Yeah.
What's
I
this
didn't wanna
one
just,
area?
like,
The
shoehorn
eastern
it in.
southern hemisphere? What's it got in that? What is that, Omar? What does it say? I can't quite make that out. Your typing is shit.
Yeah, your typewriting.
But
Yeah, that works out.
yeah, so
Okay, that's
yeah,
kind of a
so
neat
as an
little-
example, doing the eastern southern hemisphere, that would be the best place on this planet to try to establish an actual colony here, based on that +1.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially. The other notes in here, of course, are don't worry too much about modifiers you might see elsewhere in this report. For instance, climate, where it says temperate +1, it's supposed to be a +1 on hydrosphere roll. It's just because it's a temperate climate, it adds a +1 to the hydrosphere, which didn't really do much good when I rolled the hydrosphere for this, because as you can see, there's no real water here. It's trapped.
Okay.
Any other questions on the notes as far as making sure you guys understand things?
No.
No,
I
just-
played Traveler. I understand never-ending rolls.
Yep. Yeah, and sometimes I've had a couple instances already where the random rolls did not work out with either my intent or what was already published for that world. Shocker.
Well, it looks like we have a breathable atmosphere. We can expect 1G. So that's good. Volcanoes and maybe respirators.
Hmm.
That and the terrain's probably pretty loose in some places.
Yeah. So what quadrant is the former science facility located in?
Of course, it's set in the volcanoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
to be
of
clear,
course.
most of the planet has volcanoes. It's just that one particular quadrant has a significantly or more noticeably number of volcanoes or active volcanoes.
Yeah. So I think, Cap, that isn't our mission to check on the people who might still be there first before we go looking for resources.
Yes, that's probably our first concern. So figuring out what about society and if there is none, if there's survivors left. My understanding is that we've been kind of floating for a long time. So all the while people have been either surviving or on cryo sleep. So we'll have to go and check on them as soon as possible. That's correct, right?
Yeah, I'm double checking. I got to look at the contract because it says in there pretty much your primary objectives. Pretty
Yeah.
cut and dry insofar as here's a simple way for players to remember what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that
In
contract and I've been reading it.
Yeah. In fact, it is right here, and holy crap, I forgot it was small.
It's not
So yeah,
big.
so survey the sector. You're doing that. Recover existing colonial records stored in the local long data disks.
Yeah.
Negotiate terms under which surviving colonies should be returned to UN ISC oversight. Assess future technological, industrial, and financial potential. Those are pretty much the biggest three things you want to do for every planet you go check out. Especially insofar as like reestablishing contact with these lost worlds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically.
So
Go ahead.
So do we have a pinpoint on where and which volcano? I couldn't seem to remember how to say that word. So which volcano we have a colony under?
Well, Cap, I think if you have one of your crew members roll a contact roll, I think you can easily pinpoint where to go.
Hey, the person sitting at the science and sensors.
I mean, your
Oh,
nav
cool.
or your
Maybe.
pilot could do it as well because they're going to be picking up. In their case, they're looking for that radio signal that says, "Hey, come land over here."
I go back to the sensors and I do it because I frankly don't trust Drudge, and I know Finn. Finn would let me do it.
Yeah, Finn
Yeah.
would let you do it because Finn doesn't want to do it.
Exactly.
All right, you got 2 successes. So yeah, in that quadrant that had a
Oh,
bunch of...
and as a side note, I can multi-push my wits stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
That's impressive. So that basically just gives you an additional push. So basically 3 total attempts to complete something. Wits related.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is pretty.
So, I think I'm going to just push it once because I would like to see what additional information I can get before we get down there.
Okay. Yep.
That
That's
is
what happens when you
four-
play
three
with
successes.
the odds. But
You
roll
got
that
another one.
stress. Oh, you did roll stress. Never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, I think it auto rolled because
I-
I didn't press the button.
I think it did too. That's a new thing.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
I did update it, so
That's interesting that it basically rolls it for you and says, "Ah, not only do you have stress, your player has stress because I'm going to roll the stress for it." The player, that is. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a total of 3 successes. What would you like? Well, first, your initial information that you'll get is that there is a clear indication of where exactly to go, which volcano to arrive at. What other information would you like to go check out? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back that up one step. So the facility that you're looking for, you get the navigation data, as I jokingly referred to as the radio signal that says, "Hey, come land over here." You get that information pretty easily. You find the correct channel and all that stuff. You see Drudge and Finn basically tapping a few keys and whatnot, figuring out the exact, I'm going to say angle of attack, but I mean it a little bit more loosely than a very specific angle, but like the method by which to break orbit and come down nice and smooth and all that.
Now, a question: is our ship designed to land on a planet,
Yes.
or are we taking exploration vehicles down?
You are in a scientific or space exploration vehicle. This is if you remember from the movie Prometheus, this is that ship.
Okay, I just had to double check.
No worries. There's been a couple of times I've had to go back and recheck that as well.
Cool.
our garage opens up to the ground with a ramp, so we can deploy ground vehicles directly from.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I
Station.
thought. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, no
So
worries.
for my two stunts,
Mhm.
I would like new and unexpected information, and I would like that a second time, if I can do that.
A second time. What do you mean by a
Oh.
second time? Oh, to a free roll
Just get
or
new and unexpected information twice.
oh,
But
okay.
if I can't take it twice, I would just do it quickly.
Okay. You'll do it quickly only because there isn't a whole lot of information at this point for you to pick up that you wouldn't already be able to gather easily.
Okay.
What you do get is basically you actually receive as a part of like a digitalized welcome packet, for lack of a better way to phrase it. You get something close to a floor plan of the actual facility.
Oh, I pop that over
Yep.
on the HoloMess board as soon as I get that.
Yeah. So
I
what you
can,
get, I think what happens too is the hollow board starts like doing it starts tracing a wireframe of.
Hey Pike, I got a present for you, and then I toss the map of the facility over.
Yeah, you start getting so you have basically there's a central 2 or 3 story station, and then around it, kind of spindly a little bit, are several paths, covered walkways that lead to other hab domes, not hab domes, like hab cubicles, we'll say, okay, because I don't have any imagery or anything, so I have this in my head. I'm trying to explain it. Basically, there's a number of hab facilities. They're all interconnected with each other. Some cases, the walkways are covered, some are not. There's a designated landing area, and all of this is nestled against the base of that volcano. And as a free piece of information, that volcano is smoking, but otherwise seems fine.
Do we have any update as to when that last eruption happened, or has it been growing in activity?
You can ping the colony's computer to see if it has that information available to you, but it may or may not release it to you. By may or may not release it to you, I mean I'm still deciding if I'm going to allow that computer to give you that information.
I try calling down to the.
Oh, you're doing
Okay,
a
so
radio
I
call?
have two. I have two questions. One, is either of the security people in the flight deck here near the holo table?
Who's the security? That's Wright and
Alita
and Amir, right? Amir
Yes.
being one
Yeah.
of the NPCs.
Yeah.
Let's see. Amir sounds right. Yeah, that's the Royal Marine. No. They're well, I won't tell you where exactly Amir is.
I
You can
only
tell me where
asked
Wright
because
is.
I only asked because I wouldn't have just said, "Hey, Pike, here's a present." I would have said, "Hey, security person and Pike got a present for you both," and then tossed it over.
Gotcha. I think you get a ping like on the PA or whatever. Amir's like, "Oh, that'd be helpful."
Hmm.
And then Wright obviously can respond however she wants.
Wright is currently getting on frozen and equipped and everything as she needs to. So she might not be on the flight deck right away.
Okay.
So since Amir is the captain of the guard, so to speak, she would probably be the best person to go and do that or not. So.
All right. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Amir and Wright are both in one of the lower
Armory.
decks getting stuff ready, getting their little weapons and whatnot, just in case they go shoot somebody.
Just
Even
tiny
though
little weapons.
Yeah. You wanted to call down to the outpost?
I tried calling the outpost.
You have an active signal. There's no disruption or anything like that, but there is nobody picking up.
Does it go to the voicemail?
Is there any distress signal or anything like that attached?
No.
Or is it literally just the
You've got
generic computer, "Hey, I'm here"?
Yeah,
message?
you're getting you know how computers and radios and whatnot will ping each other or whatever. You've got a solid connection. There's just nobody answering.
Okay.
So they have power apparently.
They have
Well, that's obvious
power
because
or sufficient battery.
you got the ping or whatever for your starting your landing cycle. Like you got the hey, land over here. I mean, I want to be clear. When I'm saying hey, land over here, I'm talking about how like even in the modern day air traffic towers and whatnot have radios that the aircraft and the ground can communicate individually, or like say for instance the ISS and different ships setting up their docking, they'll have communication frequencies that are specifically for the computers to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And so that you're getting that, but also on your, let's call it voice radio, solid connection, no answer.
I think Pike just starts laughing.
Hey, I just report that yeah, the radios work, but apparently nobody's home to answer the phone.
I think
But we can lend.
yeah, Quintana is just sitting there. I want to imagine you two are still leaning over that same chair, just kind of looking around to wherever the dialogue is. And Amir, or not Amir, Quintana just looks at you like, what are you laughing for?
Same shit, different ship.
Don't even want to know what that means. And then she just wanders off. Like, she's like, I'm going to go and finish getting stuff ready and grab some coffee. I am not ready for that shit right there. And she points directly at Pike, laughing. Let me
Yeah,
she points at
as
Pike's
this-
laughing, not she's laughing.
Yeah,
Okay.
he'll turn to her and be, do you want help with any of that? I'm no help up here.
Yeah, I mean, go get your scouty stuff, and I'll go get my prospecty stuff, and we'll start getting ready to go kick and pick up rocks.
Oh, as a side note, I bet Nina is tormenting the poor coffee pot to try to improve efficiency, and we end
Is
up
she
with
James
occasional
Holdening the
weird ass.
coffee?
We end up with weird ass flavors sometimes.
Okay, that's almost as good. I just need a scene
She thinks it's her permanent experiment project, and everybody just rolls their eyes at her at it.
I just want a scene at some point, not necessarily tonight, but at some point of Nina with a cup of coffee and a matchstick, just grinding the little red sulfur head down. I know at least one of you two know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. For the safety of the crew, Pike does not drink coffee.
A caffeinated Pike? Oh my god.
Well, every cup of coffee that you drink in the system increases your stress by 1.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Pike would rather overkill and destroy property and people than take a high panic condition.
Yes, because that high panic
that
condition is going to trigger overkill.
So, yeah, he'll like, as he's walking off the bridge, he'll shoot eyes at the captain to see if the captain stops him, and if he doesn't say anything, he's just gonna go prepare to be in the first wave.
I give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, we got a solid landing cycle. It's either now or we have to come back around and readjust on the next pass. You want to go down now or shall we wait?
We might as well drop her down now.
Hey, here we go.
Grab
your tits and buckle your seats or something like that. It's gonna get a little bumpy on the interface.
Okay, I'm gonna go sit at the Capayan Tower console.
The way you said that.
Capayan.
Yeah, no, I think the Capayan console. Okay. Anything else for any of the players or NPCs before we enter the atmosphere and approach the facility?
I'm just gearing up and then helping Emily get all of her shit down into the bottom deck.
Okay.
Do we have any vehicles, or is that something that we don't have yet?
I'm sorry?
Do we have any
for
vehicles?
grab vehicles?
You guys should have the information for your ship's loadout. Am I crazy? Let me rephrase
yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad somebody caught my joke. You do have that information available in the book, right?
I have.
You mean the book you told us not to look through?
I think it's probably in a section we're not allowed in.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, talk amongst yourselves.
I haven't looked very much. Okay.
So there's a relief boat and a science boat, but those are not vehicles in the sense that like are ATVs or some shit that would be down on the sea deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's the helipods?
Yeah, buddy.
Helipods are escape pods. Place.
The EEV pods. Let's do it.
Oh, that's what those are called?
So the EEV pods are like the civilian. So we had the coffins. These are bigger. These are bigger than the coffins. You're supposed to get into like a cryo bed and it shoots you off away from an exploding ship so you can be picked up later. But you can point it at planets. And it will try to stop. It'll try to slow the landing. So you can try to use it. You can use it as drop pods. They're just really bougie ones.
Oh, nice.
They're probably very expensive too.
Yeah.
Probably. probably hard to reload to out this far.
Okay. PDF page 73 there is the beginning of your SEV Class J scientific exploration vessel. That's the ship you're on. If you go over
Mhm.
the next couple of pages, it talks a little bit more about stuff, like
Page
stats
number
and
again.
whatnot. I think that copy and paste or that clip that I dropped in Discord also has some information about what you have.
Page number again.
73. Yes, that image I dropped in Discord. It has the Magellan Class J SEV with a crew of up to 16, FTL rating of 10, equipped with 2 Class D lifeboats, along with 12 Class A EEV pods, carries the 4 8x8 tractors, 4 Alphatech off-road vehicles, the 2 EVA 7C salvage rescue pods, heavy extractors, cryo sleep for 18 people, 12 seriously injured. I think we can also safely say that as far as any like
But do we want to say that it just has the garage complement listed here?
does it state it does? Or?
5, I don't know, 5 rovers, 2 mineral extractors, and 6 little things like ATVs or buggies.
Oh, nice.
I think we can go with a lot of that. Because you have that whole bottom deck of nothing but vehicle space. So I think it's easy to say that you've got at least a couple of the 8x8s, a bunch of the 4x4s.
It's a pretty big cargo space. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so the science boat is literally like a mini droppable science lab where they can come pick them up later. I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them.
And I'm assuming the relief boat is the same deal. It's like a mini relief.
I think those
supplies
different boats
vessel.
are
It's
like
supposed to be
the chassis are the same. It's just the different rooms inside.
yeah, so you can
set up for
either
different
drop a
things.
science lab behind or you can drop a colony relief center, basically. So if like if the colony's in a bad way, we can drop the relief center there and leave it there.
Do we have reloads for those?
You'd probably have to get another one from the fleet.
And there
Yeah,
may
that's
or
a
may
good
not
point.
be one at the Ileana. There would be one back home, but that's 2 years away.
Mhm.
Alternatively, it might be like a drop, return, get resupply, go out and have to go pick it back up later.
Yeah. That
Mhm.
would be
Worst case
more
scenario.
that would be more accurate. Any other I was gonna say anything like any ship stores, tools, equipment, things of that nature. I think anything within reason would be available. Anything specific, questionable, then we have to start figuring out whether or not you have it. So
Okay.
obviously all the tools you would need to maintain everything that you brought, like so all the ship tools, all the vehicle tools, you've got all of that. Probably got some various welders. I mean, you've got a couple of different workshops on the ship. So you've obviously got plenty of tools so you can come up with all kinds of shit.
And fun fact for everybody, we have an airlock on the bottom where we can bring people into quarantine instead of having them go through the regular garage area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we do have a quarantine.
That's nice.
Anything else? Or shall we break Atmo and, well, enter Atmo?
The only reason I would suggest not going down in the first cycle is to give us more time to scan from above. It's not
Mhm.
like we're on a time crunch here.
We don't know.
We aren't on a
that.
time crunch, but I do see your point.
I think as a counterpoint, Blatchman from his corner of the flight deck is like, no time like the present, boss.
Yeah, and I kind of
Coming from, I think I personally think Tan would agree with me more than these gung ho people, but
Mhm.
that's okay.
The company man who's thinking time is money.
Oh, I mean, is he a company man going for the profit, or is he an ICC inspector who's like an OSHA inspector?
Time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really
Okay.
know him that well yet.
Yeah, I only proposed getting more sensor readings just because it's a highly unstable planet.
I mean,
But if you guys want to just go down now, that's fine.
I mean, obviously it's
Like,
up to
we
the
have
captain.
sensors.
It's up to the captain. At some point, you're gonna have to pull the trigger. So whether you do it now or
Yeah,
later is up to you.
I mean, it's
I'm
not like
pulling the trigger unless you
you're-
want to manipulate me in some way.
I mean, it's
No,
also
I just point out that hey, we could make use of a full lap of the planet, and it would only take a couple hours. It just give us more sensor data. But if you want to
Okay.
go in now,
I mean,
How long would it take?
alternatively, we're not kicking everybody off the ship. Imagine it's only going to be a handful of people getting off. So if things get too unstable, you can just take off and stay sub-atmospheric.
Or even back to orbit if necessary, depending
Or
on the
back to
situation.
orbit. I mean, part of Pike's job is to make sure that you have people to pick up afterwards.
Yep.
I do trust Pike.
Do you though?
So
I was wondering that when I was saying that.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I'm pulling the trigger.
What's the
but,
plan?
unless anyone has some vetoes on that one, then let's go down.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to assume that you're going to head straight to the designated landing area, which is, a few hundred meters off of the outskirts of the facility. So you get a great shot as you come down of a number of smoking and burning red volcanoes that, as you get closer to the ground, are further out on the horizon. So they're close, but like geographically only, not in like, I could probably walk to the top of that mountain in the end of a day or so.
generally, yes,
question.
that is the case because horizon lets you see out to a set number of miles.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I think you get my point though. I think they're close, but you don't have that. Oh God, that's a glob of lava falling from the sky coming at me. Close.
So in the equipment stores for asking for reasonable things, I assume I can find rope.
Yeah.
Can I find a Samani watch?
A who?
The Samani E-Series watch.
Which kind of watch is that?
It's the same one I have on my character sheet. It's got an oxygen and a pressure sensor on it.
Oh yeah, there's probably a couple of those. I think that'd be reasonable that there's a couple, because I mean you're gonna have a number of like, if you don't have one of those, you're gonna have a number of other like hand portable sensor kits.
Yeah. So do you want
I don't know what they would be.
You want to give me one of them?
No. Let's see. Items and.
So while we're deliberating about going down there and doing the job, who is actually getting off the boat?
That's your decision. There's two of us have assumed we're getting off.
Yeah.
At least three of you.
Well, before you decide all of that, as the ship comes in for touchdown, and maybe as you're starting that conversation, can I get any one of you to roll for the group 5d6?
Not it.
I can do it.
I love how Renan's like, nope, not me. I've played with Omar before. I know what he's doing.
Hey, this is on behalf of the party, so it should be the captain.
Yes.
Pike also dodging.
Hey,
that means we got Alita to dodge too. It's all.
All right, what do we got here?
Matt's
we've got a success. Okay. We only have one success, so there's that. Let me see what that says in my notes. Okay. So I think what happens is the ship comes down, it settles down, we get a great shot of all the steam overpressure and everything off the sides of the ship's landing gear and whatnot. We get a camera pan shot through one of the decks somewhere inside the ship as various crew members are, either standing down from the landing cycle or prepping to head out on this expedition. And then it starts, a faint rumbly sound. And it just progressively gets worse and worse over the next.
Are you saying we're hearing sound because we're now in Atmo, or are we hearing sound because of it's transferring through the ground?
Oh, you're feeling it all around you.
Okay, there's
Welcome
a difference
to
between
an earthquake
hearing a low.
that lasts for about 30 to 45 seconds.
Okay.
I need everybody to make mobility rolls, please.
Are we not sitting?
I am sitting in a chair at the sensor station still. Does that make a modifier?
No, because it's earthquakey. I hear where you're going with this. I've never been in an earthquake. I don't know if sitting in a chair is going to keep you safe. Let's see. What do we got here? What's going on here? Let's see.
Oh, I apparently failed. And not only did I fail, I got a face hugger. And it auto-rolled my panic for me.
Is that what I saw there? Okay, give me just a second. Let me scroll through this. All right, Warren is okay. So we've got Warren, we've got Westcott bounced out of her chair. Warren pushed. No, hold on.
No.
Okay. Was that the first
Warren
roll was at
failed and Wright passed. For
Okay.
some reason, it said Warren.
yeah, it said Warren twice.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna
it's
use the
because it's
name
your
of the
character,
token
your
you.
player. Yeah. So the second one is right.
Yeah, the second one is
Okay.
right.
Right is good. Pike is good. Let me do a quick 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think
5,
it's using
6.
your name twice because
So-
you have your token selected on.
Somewheres.
Yeah.
3. Okay.
Oh, it
Uh,
is, yes.
Let's see. All right. So effectively, what happens is an earthquake rumbles all around you guys. Those of you that failed a mobility need to make a second mobility. The first mobility was to keep you on your feet. The second mobility is to see if you actually bash your face on anything. So Westcott is fine. She gets dumped out of her seat, but she's fine. Warren, you were probably, I want to imagine you're like, maybe you were kind of leaning on the hollow table looking at some schematic or something, and then the earthquake hits and it catches you completely off guard and you fall. Or maybe you kind of like, whoa, but then you catch yourself and you don't actually hurt yourself. There's a number
Losing
of people.
my edge.
Yeah. Yeah, there you can use your edge. A number of people, in fact, as you hear a couple of people go, oh, fuck, shit, what the fuck was that? You know, things like that throughout the ship.
Because I'm with Emily. Did she fall?
That's a great question. Let's see what Emily did since you're with her. Skills, ability. She fell over and she hurt herself. I think she fell and she literally bonks the back of her head against some bulkhead.
Honestly, if you fall forward, even if you catch yourself, you can still sprain a wrist.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Among things.
He'll reach down a hand to pull her up.
And she gets up and she's like, thanks. And she's rubbing the back of her head. It's like, fuck, that hurt. The fuck? Oh, yeah. Unstable tectonics or something. God damn it, I hate this place already.
He just nods very solemnly and says, "Tripping hazard."
That should have been the name of the show. This episode is just Tripping Hazard.
He calls back himself on the bridge.
Oh, man. Okay, what do you guys want to do? Who's going out? What's the plan?
All right.
As we land on this planet with a bad attitude. Not that you
So,
guys landed with the attitude. The planet has a bad attitude.
I'm assuming counselor doctor lady now gets to man the med bay because we have a number of people with bumps and scrapes.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a good idea. So whoever got injured there, if it's bad enough, go see the doctor lady. However, right now we're looking at
Let me interject really quick because I want to imagine
What?
that Warren is saying this over like the PA or something.
is it a
and-
doctor lady?
Monroe is the
Yeah,
doctor
Lakota.
lady.
Okay.
So I want to imagine that Warren is like, all right, everybody okay? All right, if you need to, just go get checked out. Monroe, go open up the med bay, get it, make sure everybody's fine. And then down in the bays, Pike, as you're helping Quintana back up on her feet, and Warren is making his announcement, she's just looking at you like, no, let's go.
Yeah,
And I want to point out, as she pulls her hand from the back of her head, there's a little, not an alarming amount, but there's a little bit of blood there.
A smudge, it's fine.
Even if there was an alarming amount of blood, if she said "I'm fine" and she wanted to keep going, he's just going to shrug and say, "I didn't see nothing."
Even if she passes out 5 seconds later because she gave herself a nasty brain contusion. Yeah. No, I
mean,
got you.
if she passes out, that he's
Oh,
got
yeah,
to do
yeah,
something
yeah.
a little different. Maybe he sticks her in the ATV and waits to see if she wakes up.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
well, I at least
hey,
checked to
remember,
see if Lakota
empathy-
herself was injured.
Remember, empathy 1, medical aid 0. He might actually think that's a good idea.
You probably
I'm
would.
helping.
You're gonna see if Doc is okay.
Yeah, because if she was injured, I'll go catch her up real quick so she can keep an eye on everybody else.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Nope, she's good.
Cool.
She didn't even
'Cause I
get-
do have
she
medical aid.
didn't even get knocked over.
That's good for her.
So quick tutorial on if you will allow me this tutorial, because this is my first time doing any of this whole nonsense.
Mhm.
We are at a station. How far away from the station are we?
The landing pad is probably about 400 meters away from the outskirts edge of the facility. So like it's a 300, it's like a 400 meter walk from the ship to the first set of hab pods.
It's not very far.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not. I mean,
very
it's
far.
it's a few hundred meters. It'll take you about a minute or two, but it's like far enough
About-
away that if the ship were to like suddenly decide to leave, only the closest couple of hab pods are going to get any kind of damage on them. Does that make sense?
If it has to suddenly leave.
Well, like we're out of here and we're out of here fucking now, because otherwise the ship would just
like-
kind of lift off and then gradually float away, and then once it's maybe a kilometer or two away, then it would kick the big engines in and start climbing.
Okay.
But-
So if we're going in there to see if people are okay,
Mhm.
we don't necessarily need a prospector. We do need a science nerd. We do probably need a marshal of some sort. Scout possibly is necessary.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to you to figure out who you
and-
want to send out. You're the boss.
Do
And
you
you
still
guys are
have
the crew that
the,
can say,
crew
hey, maybe
roster?
this guy goes and maybe this one doesn't.
What was that?
Do you still have the crew roster, or do you need a copy of that?
I have it on Discord somewheres.
It
Yeah.
should be pinned, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So we don't need any of the pilots.
Yeah, Dudge and Finn will
mechanics are
stay back. They're
fine.
gonna, in fact, Dudge, Finn, Westcott, Dudge, Finn, Nina, and Coblins. They're gonna go through post-op flight checks of the ship. They're gonna start doing some maintenance stuff around the ship and flight deck. You hear them.
So,
You can hear them talking about it, amongst themselves. Pike, make an observation roll for me really quick, please. Okay. Well, you got one total success. You hear. I keep wanting to think you guys have like micro beads or something from Warhammer, but I think at some point as you're wandering, not necessarily wandering around the ship, but you're actively engaged doing stuff, getting ready to head out, and then there's people talking about doing this, doing that. Everybody's basically working on, doing what they're supposed to do as far as their role. You hear a very clear and distinct Russian accent.
Oh no.
I mean, have I not talked to everybody on the crew yet?
You have not.
Okay.
Who talks now?
There is one of the mechanics.
Oh.
Koblenz.
Yep. Koblenz. He is currently discussing something about which deck he's going to start on with Nina regarding the pre-flight checks and everything like that. And he's got a big wrench in one hand and a box of tools in the other. And him and Nina are talking about where they're going to start. And they're just going to go through. Basically, they're talking about, you catch something about, checking all the valves and seals. You're not sure exactly where, but you catch that. But that's what you hear. And you hear it very clearly that he has a distinct Russian accent.
I need to make a roll for a clear and distinct accent.
You have a thing about UPP people. So I wanted to see if you noted that there was someone from the UPP on your crew. You have not until just now. And then a chance for you to respond as Pike might respond to, there's a fucking Rusky on my tub.
I mean, yeah.
I wanna
mean,
place precedence here.
Sure.
That we were on the Ileana and he had met that there was Russians on the
That's true.
Ileana.
That's true. That there are. I mean, this is a multinational.
There's
effort.
the
Does he
difference
care that
between
much?
knowing there's some in the fleet and
Yeah.
another knowing there's one on his boat right now.
That's why. And,
Yeah.
and again, this is entirely up to you how you want to respond to this information. You could completely put it in your back pocket and deal with it later, or you could
just-
go
We could be
and
murdering
fist
him.
fuck this motherfucker right now if you want.
Yeah, I totally get the narrative thing here. I'm just trying to figure out why I had to make a roll for a clear accent. When it sounds like you're presenting
the role was
it-
more for.
If you
Comedic
walk
effect?
through the correct section of the ship at the moment.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like for whether or not you noticed, oh, there is a Russian here.
Okay.
That's. I'm
Okay.
just trying to point out that this is obviously a Russian, and this is the first time you've noticed it. That's
Okay.
really what I'm getting at.
I'm no interjections.
What'd you say?
I have no interjections.
Okay.
Right, Pike will have a conversation with Warren later.
Okay. But we get on the screen. Pike will remember this.
Everyone liked that.
Everyone like that. All right.
All
Who's
right.
going out?
Okay, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but Hamida probably has final say as whether or not Alita's going out or not as the superior on her side.
I mean,
I mean,
Yeah, so I'll
she
never.
would make the recommendation of whether one or the other or both goes out, and the captain can be like, "No, I want either one, both, or none, or whatever."
Right,
I
but
mean,
like,
if you just say, if you just say, I want one security person, then she'd be choosing. But if you say you want somebody, you're her boss.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am her boss, but she's the recommender.
Correct. You
Right?
get final say. Like if you're like, I need one security person. You only have two, obviously. So she's like, all right, I'll send right. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
actually, I want you to go. And then, all right, I'll go.
Fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that boils out.
And let's see here. Okay, so I think I got a handle of the entire crew here. So I got the medical, which is also a counselor, medical negotiator, and diplomat.
Yeah, she's got a
She's got a
array.
hat.
she's a psychologist, isn't she?
She's actually a psychologist, but somehow she got looped into all the other shit.
Oh wow.
Well, a
you work on
psychologist
people.
is a medical doctor. The psychiatrist is not,
Yeah, something like
if I remember
Hmm.
the difference.
It's
So
the other
she
way around.
actually has a medical doctor on top of
It's-
her
it's-
psychology.
It's the other way around.
Okay, yeah, I'm so bad at remembering the difference, but
don't
there's one of
remember
them that's a
either. I know
medical
one-
doctor and then psychology, and the other one that's only psychology.
A
Yeah.
psychiatrist is an MD.
Yeah.
It is a medical doctor.
Yeah, they're the
Um,
pill pushers.
I'm setting up the actors that are going out. So Blatchman's
Who are you
going.
sending?
Okay, so
Pike is
Blastman's going.
Yep. Blatchman's
Blastman,
going.
okay.
Pike is going.
The ICC guy is going?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Why?
I'm gonna go too then. Warren's gonna go.
Well, I mean, it's his choice. So I'm surprised that the captain is sending the ICC inspector out for initial check.
I can veto that, but I think he wants to go, right?
You could tell him no. That'll be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I'm trying to. Oh, Quintana is the other one.
Tell you what, if he falls in a hole, I might just be like, wow, we need supplies. We'll be back. You just leave him.
Oh no!
Oh
He
no, the
fell!
earthquake.
Oh no! He got swallowed up in a sandstorm.
Prospector's going. Okay.
So those
all right,
those four
so-
right there are the ones I definitely know are going, unless you say Tan is not. You still wanted
Ooh.
either Wright or Amir or both or none.
Either or.
I'll just grab. Well, if you know what, if Warren's going, then Amir will go,
Okay.
and then anybody else.
Okay, so we got Warren,
Is Westcott going, or is she staying on the ship?
Amir.
sorry. Is Octavia
Westcott.
going?
Octavia should be going, right?
I mean, that's up to you.
It is a science facility.
It is
I
a
feel
science.
like you'd
It
have
is a research
more
facility,
knowledge
and
about-
you have those mad
Okay,
context
so
skills.
look at it this way.
Okay.
This is an unsecured facility. We have not examined anything. All we know is we have gotten no response, and there's heavy tectonics volcanic activity.
That's a
In
good
this
point.
instance, it would make sense to have non-security personnel also leave. But like, if you think there's going to be hostiles, why would you put civvies on your initial trip out?
Yeah.
I didn't
this
really think it was going to be
is-
hostiles. That's the thing.
So I just
Unless-
wanted to point that out, because in the future it might not make sense to send civilians out first off.
Well, you're also
So yes,
we don't know what's happened yet. Like, we don't know if it's a contagion or if they're crazy or if everybody's dead and it's a ghost town or if everything's all good to go and you're sending like half or more than half the crew on what's
Yeah,
really
okay.
just sort of like a knock on the door. And if somebody answers, we
Yeah,
send
you
the
don't
right
want
people
to
for
you
the
want to send
problem.
as few people as possible that you still think they can get the job done, because this is the initial check. We will
So
probably
the-
be coming back 6 hours later with a bigger group of people. You don't want to
Plus, like-
infect half the crew with the plague.
Plus, if we
So the-
need an
yeah.
expert, like the on the ground, we can report back like this is what we found.
We
and you
have
can decide
radio
what
access.
experts- and you
Yeah.
can decide what experts you need to send to solve that problem.
so that's why I definitely wanted Pike on the ground first.
So Pike,
Yeah.
All right. So
Wave
wave 2 of the cuts, we've got Pike going. Who else is going?
probably one security person, right?
Yeah, Amir. Your
Amir is
Royal
gonna go?
Marine friend.
All right, fine. Unless you want to send Wright, because I'm not going to be going in that case.
Are you okay? So Warren, I think
Yeah.
yeah,
That makes
Sending
sense.
Wright and Pike together makes sense.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Wright and Pike.
Okay.
Um,
And then Warren is
and if he
not.
wants to go, then that's his prerogative. But we're just like you said. I guess when he started kind of going, that he was
mean,
saying that he was going
I
to
think
go.
You know
That's
what?
kind of when the
Here's
whole
what
thing
happens.
butted in.
I think
on the
Okay.
on the flip side, if there is like a contagion or something, he's worthless to you in that scenario. So him being trapped in quarantine doesn't hurt you.
No, but it's
He's just
also dumb
hurting
for him
himself.
to go in that case. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's stupid for him to go. But
are you gonna tell him that he could sit this one out?
I mean, I'm going to be sending some scouts and a marshal over to knock on the door. Do you really want to go, Tan?
You tell me to
Mr.
wait,
Blatch?
I'll wait, but I'll be keeping a close eye on what comes back.
Absolutely. We don't want any contagions or anything like that.
He's. I want to point out, I am laughing and everything. He has a dead stone face on his head, and he's just like, "No, we don't." And he kind of
Good.
does like a bit of a curt nod, and then walks off. And the camera follows him briefly as he makes his way down to the bottom deck.
To the toilet.
I think, like, given the discussion going on and everything, Pike will volunteer. Like, after we knock, regardless of what we see, we'll plan to come back through quarantine so you can check us before we re-enter ship population.
Yeah, it should only take
Is
a
that
little
to
bit
Dan
of
or
time.
is that to Warren?
To Warren.
Okay.
Well, that's to
should only take a
the
little
Warren
bit of
because
time.
while we're doing our briefing, because realistically, the building is intact, the lights are on, there's nobody answering. That increases the likelihood that it's a contagion, not violent action or environmental
Or
destruction.
they're all in cryo or something.
Could be.
They would be in
Yeah.
cryo for a
Quintana
reason.
is going to go because she says this at some point that she's very interested in what kind of mineral or prospecting has taken place, what could be extracted from the planet.
Okay. Well, you can go in the second wave if you want to. Otherwise, you can go with them right now as a third.
I'll go now
third hand.
unless you have a better idea. I feel like if there's in material of whatever's going on here, we're still going to need that. I'm going to start calling it a mineral survey, for lack of a better thing to call it.
Yeah, there's no point in her going first off because
Oh, she's kind of being.
realistic.
Go ahead, sorry.
Because realistically, this is a basic scouting mission to determine if it's a contagion or not. Nothing else.
Yeah.
We're going to be there for maybe a half hour before coming back to the ship. We're literally going to go knock on the door,
Fine.
open it up, take air
She
readings.
definitely does one of those. Fine. Lifts her hands up. Maybe she knocks her hat a little bit askew for a second, and then she just adjusts it and she sits back down. It's fine.
I mean,
I'll go on the second round.
Because realistically, this is a very simple scout. Check it, make sure it's breathable inside the thing, and if there's dead bodies lying around or not. This isn't
And-
a full on. We're not even going to hit the computers probably.
We probably don't even have shoulder cams, do we?
No.
We don't have. Well, I mean, I have one in a box, but it's not linked up to the system, and I'm not taking it out.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very
Mr. I left the Marine Corps and took all my shit with me.
Hey, I
Yeah.
bribed a quartermaster.
That's a lot of money.
All right, so right
I
now
have a
all
lot
I
of
have
money.
is Pike and Wright going out.
Pike
mean,
and
we're
Wright is a good crew. I mean,
Alright.
they know their
I
stuff.
mean, does Wright have any medical skills at all?
I
Comtech?
believe she has one
She's
medical.
got one medical and Comtech is none. With
Yeah.
What is that? Wits?
I'll probably have to
Wits,
go
yeah.
just so I can get them through the door.
Okay.
Wow.
So
the old
the-
crew's back together.
Well,
I know, right? Well, the other crew don't have the necessary security, observation, and door kicky shit. They're civvies, so
all right. Everybody
Like,
else is back on the
literally,
ship
I
doing
expect-
things.
And you're
I
not
literally
the doctor,
expect
so
more time to be spent walking our asses over there and opening the door than we're spending inside that facility.
It's a good possibility.
Like legit, hands down, that's the goal.
All right.
We're just
Yeah.
going to opening it up to see if it's,
Do we have radios?
Yes. You
Okay,
guys have some sort of comms with the ship. You're not going to wander off from the ship without comms. Nobody's going to.
we got radios and respirators.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have
Mhm.
anything other than a couple things on my character sheet.
I mean, we can always add it as needed, but you've got certainly enough supplies. I'm not gonna put a respirator on there. It's already been mentioned that
Okay.
you guys have them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to be now. I want you to imagine Empire Strikes Back walking around inside the middle of the space slug, Han Solo and Princess Leia. It's a mask with a box that you have attached to your hip. Okay, it's nothing crazy, but
Yeah.
you have it
Yeah.
if you need it. And you're
The
probably
only thing I would grab that's not in my standard kit is that like Seaburn like environmental detection kit.
I can
Like
give you one of
the
those.
hey, is this I grab one of those because I already have a PDAT and I can run the sensor scans real quick as soon as we step through the door and have it feed to my PDAT to see if there's any contagions or stuff like that in the air. That's
have
the only thing I would grab that isn't on me.
Warren has a PDAT too, so I guess we could communicate with that.
Oh, I can send you feeds directly from PDAT to
Yeah.
PDAT, and then we'd have
That's what I
radio
mean.
comms as well. So
Yeah,
you would
so that'll
actually
be
have
perfect.
active monitoring of whatever I feed into the PDAT from the sensor suite.
I think
So
we
we
got a
can-
good setup going.
We can exit the ship through the quarantine airlock. We plan to re-enter the same way till we're
Sure of it.
yeah.
Well, shouldn't we have sensors to say like the outside is breathable rather than just
I mean,
the inside of that facility?
It's
all the
breathable, but
information
we
you're
don't know
getting
if
so
it's
far is that the local air is clean.
Oh,
The
okay.
being the correct oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide mix means we won't die stepping outside,
Yeah.
but
I forgot how air works. You're right.
Well,
it's at the
Yeah.
appropriate pressure and
a
composition
science-
to not kill us.
You have a science officer for that. Don't
Yep.
worry about it.
yeah.
That's my job is to nitpick
I asked
that.
the dumb,
Sorry.
I asked the dumb questions. She answers them.
Nope, it's all good. In fact, so two things happen as you guys exit the ship and cross the first 100 meters or so. One, you
Okay.
notice that the air is, well, it's definitely got the fumes of, let's say, hot metal. Like if you've ever been around hot iron or welding.
Question: how long did it take for us to for Warren to come up with his plan, have his tell a bunch of people no, for us to get the Seaburn equipment and all that?
From landing until now, probably about a half hour or so, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable
Okay.
based on what has transpired?
Well, we were already having this discussion
Oh,
as
you're
we
trying to
were
figure out if your
landing.
panic condition is done?
So, or we crossed the first 100 meters.
Yep.
On our way to
good.
cross a couple hundred.
Yep. And so
Yeah.
the second thing that happens is whoever rolled that 5d6 before, don't roll it again. I need somebody else to roll
Okay.
I'll roll it.
Good luck.
it.
Break all
Ooh.
your legs.
Well,
Ooh, one success.
One success. All right. So that means I roll. No, that's not it. What do I roll?
I like this new drop menu for it, but
Okay. So for about 20, 30 seconds or so, the earth rumbles again. All the people outside, make your mobility rolls. You get a, let's call it a +2. Because you have,
+2.
you're out in the open. The worst that's going to happen is you fall over. Is Warren outside too?
It's still no. It's still saying Warren.
Oh, god damn it.
You need to select the right token.
Well, I have selected the right token. Let me just try it again, just to.
There you go.
Oh, okay. All right. So I actually literally have to select a token.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
I
if
forgot
you
to add
don't
a
have a token
modifier.
selected, it's going to call you. If you select the right token, then it'll be that one. All right, so Pike,
Oh, okay.
right, and Westcott.
Westcott passes as well with one success.
Yeah.
I was just rolling my 2 extra that I forgot to add before I clicked the button.
Okay. Got it. All right. Yeah. So you guys don't fall over. And the people on board the ship are mostly NPCs, so we're not going to worry about them. It was another earthquake, of course. This one is, again, it doesn't last quite as long as the last one when you first landed, but it is a little bit more of the same, let's say, intensity. It just doesn't last as long. As you approach the facility, you're coming across like the first couple of, let's say, layers of the hab pods. Give me observation rolls, please. For anybody on the outside, the away team. I didn't really want to call you guys that. The excursion team.
Looking for signs of life or signs of not life.
Yep. Westcott. Anybody else making observation rolls?
Yeah, I am.
I am going to let's see here. How does this work?
Pike's got 3 successes.
No, okay. Observation?
Yep.
1.
Man, I'm excited to finally get to use analysis once we finally get something.
Well, you get something now. I don't know if this is what you need. This roll is going to cover basically crossing from the ship all the way towards the center of the facility. So you're making your way past a few rows of hab pods, and what you're seeing. Let me see if I actually have something to read, or if it's just something I need to paraphrase. Give me a second.
Hopefully, it's not bodies on the ground.
Can I use
Throughout this
investigator?
entire facility, however, there is nothing. Dead bodies lay in the streets. As you're looking through various hab pods, windows, and whatnot, you'll see people slumped in their homes or their work offices.
Like, there's actually dead bodies in the street and through the windows.
Yep.
I was making a. Well, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You actually hit on this earlier, and you may have seen me smirking a little bit, and I was like, nope, keep it under control, Omar.
So I mean, so do they look like violently dead, or does it look like they're just a bunch of people laying around?
You got 3 successes, so I will give you a little bit more information. You, in particular, Pike, you approach one of the dead bodies laying in the street. None of them have any sort of like protective gear on of any sort. They're in what could otherwise be considered, street clothes or lab clothes or whatever. You notice some bluing around the lips and in their fingernails.
like, how recently dead are they?
Stiff. They are incredibly stiff.
Like, are they intact bodies before
Yes.
decay?
Yes. Actually, you've
that means
got
they're
medical
dead less
skills.
than a
Why don't
day
you?
ago.
Why don't you? God damn it! Sorry.
Can I use investigation?
Yes. Octavia, medical rolls, if you're going to go that way, as far as trying to figure out, like, how long ago and all that. Or investigation will help, too.
Yeah, I'll
But
use investigation.
I will definitely give it to you that the bodies, rigor mortis has long been here.
But they're not decomposing.
Correct. You will notice even that some of the dust and ash and gravel and whatnot, not gravel, but like the articulate shit in the air, has formed silhouettes around the people. Like as you move them, that it's obviously been laying here.
They're
for a
covered
while.
in dust.
Yeah.
Metal dust, which is causing them to not decompose.
Well, part of the reason why humans decompose is the bacteria inside of our bodies eat us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there are a handful of ways for that to get killed off. So they're basically being turned into mummies, not dead, not standard decomposed bodies then. I failed my medical check and I can't push it because the freaking facehugger got me.
Okay, all my investigator might happen because I got a success on my observation.
Did you get?
So.
Oh, is that what it is? It's under. Yeah. Okay. Warren or Wright, what you get as you're digging through, you remember something in your let's call it intel drop. I forget what exactly it is. But
for training as a colonial marine or as a colonial marshal, and it covers criminal investigations.
Well, yeah, there's definitely some forensics in play, and you remember between your forensics training and some of the information you were given about this place, that this planet is home to aerobic microfauna and small plant-like organisms.
Oh, that's great.
What you're noticing, however, is that the decomposition that you would expect because of the body's internal bacteria isn't really taking place. The bodies have basically solidified because of rigor mortis and whatnot. But also that there are no external marks or indicators that the local wildlife, such as it is, none of it has started eating away at the body either. These bodies are mostly intact.
Yeah.
While you guys are poking at bodies and Pike has decided they're dead. They didn't get murdered. They're just dead. So he has to stand up and keep looking around. And while you guys are poking at bodies, he's just going to laugh through the respirator and say, well, Marines, same shit, different planet.
Are you wearing the respirator?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we all are.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, we wouldn't have stepped off the airlock without
That's
those being
fine.
on.
That's totally fine. All of your indicators, by the way, are indicating that the air is clean and green.
Oh,
Okay.
very green.
Well, I'm
So,
not a scientist,
Sure.
so I'm gonna wear it till
No,
I'm told that I
listen.
don't have to.
If you want to wear it, that's fine. However, no, I'll be nice. I won't make you do a power check.
Electricity for a respirator.
Yeah, that, and I didn't really give you a power setting for it either, so don't worry about it.
yeah, so I actually would actively use the Seaburn kit to do another check,
Absolutely.
standing next to one of the bodies.
Yeah, go for it.
And
Let me read the.
while you're doing that, I'll hit up the comms. Captain, we've got like how many people do I see on the ground around us?
Around you that you've noticed, there's probably a good dozen or so. I think what happens is after you see the first couple, you start looking for more and you start seeing more. And as you see more, you start looking for more and you start seeing more.
Yeah, so he's gonna be like, I've got at least 20 dead so far. No signs of violence.
No signs of violence.
So I picked Comtech to roll it because it doesn't actually specify
Okay.
a bonus. So I'm
Okay.
I consider it using like devices.
Yeah, that's
So,
fine.
Comtech.
I can work with that.
So Seaburn specifically is a sciencey thing. It is specifically an observation roll to use the Seaburn kit as a detector.
Oh, sorry.
Hey,
Sorry.
case?
Then let me re-roll using observation.
And does you get extra dice for the Seaburn kit added to that?
It just lets you know more than you would have been able to do with your naked eye.
So I roll my observation check for the Seaburn kit, specifically while I'm near a body to see if that changes anything.
You run the Seaburn kit over a couple of the different bodies, so you can get like let's call it multiple readings to confirm the initial set of readings. But what you end up getting is cyanotic agent response on your test kits.
Okay. I point
To be
out
clear,
that
in case I use the wrong word, because I'm not always smart, you're getting some sort of choking or no oxygen agent response.
Yeah, cyanide kills you really quick.
Well, not
and
cyanide. It's more of a cyanote, as in low oxygen, not enough oxygen.
There's probably
fucked with
something.
their breathing.
Yeah. I actually want to check out one of the standard HAB units real quick.
Okay.
I want to just see what type of air filtration is, and I specifically want to look at a HAB unit that has a dead body inside.
Sure.
Because I'm betting that the air filtration on these basic ass HAB units isn't capable of filtering out the cyanotic agent that killed them.
Sure.
I just want to confirm that hypothesis before we return to the ship to report in.
Okay, now I will let you roll. Now you can roll contact or heavy machinery.
I'll roll contact for this. This is what I say out loud to these two that are standing near me, and saying that I think it was just some form of chemical agent from a volcanic eruption, and I bet they're dead in the buildings because it's not filtering out, but I want to confirm that. So I just go to the closest basic HAB unit with the dead body in it.
Yeah. Do you tell that to Captain Warren as well?
I'm talking over the radio as I'm talking to them, so I'm assuming Warren is listening in to us talk to each other.
I imagine he would be. That would be a smart thing for a captain, the ship captain.
And I'm keeping an open comm with the assumption it's to Matthew, not to everyone on the ship.
Oh, the PDAT, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have a radio and a PDAT, so my PDAT's talking to your PDAT, so you're getting.
You're probably getting some of the same readings, especially like when she does the Seaburn kit. You're seeing like the same sort of like blood choking agent sort of response.
Well, and you could be sitting there at the hollow table having other people discuss my readings as I'm sending them to you.
Yep.
Emily and Lakota probably both would have, and
Lakota
probably
definitely.
Tan. Yeah, Emily, Lakota, and Tan probably all have good commentary.
Yeah, and
because we're sending you local data.
If anything, I think what you're getting from Tan at this point is like, if everybody's dead here, we're going to need to do some sort of sweep just to make sure everybody's dead, get some sort of accountability. Otherwise, there's really not much use for us to continue here, other than to get the long data disk.
I mean, maybe bury them.
You know what? Hold on. Before you do anything else, I need to see something really quick. Where is this fuckface?
Wait,
how empathetic he is.
I mean,
like, if I can hear him talking to Matt, I would make a comment like that back.
We need to figure that out because we don't know what all we can hear.
I don't think you guys should hear what's going on my side.
Yeah, Warren, you definitely. Yeah, I don't think he's talking into a comm unit of any sort, but you definitely hear him saying something like, "Let's get the data disk and get out of here. If everybody's dead, there's not much else we can do." And then he catches himself because he passed his empathy check. He's like, "Okay, I guess suppose maybe recovering the bodies wouldn't be a bad idea."
Guess what?
Assuming
does
it's
have
not
heart.
contagious.
It's probably contagious.
And that if it's contagious, maybe
You don't know
permanent.
that.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know. Yeah, I think all you hear, Octavia, is I don't think it's contagious, or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
he
whatever
Might not be
says, like,
Warren
contagious.
just said.
I hear, hey, it's probably contagious, and I'm like, a cyanotic agent isn't going to be contagious. It's more of an atmospheric problem than anything.
Oh,
If
okay.
what I think is going on, and then I go make my check to see if the filters have been,
Yep.
and you know, one, if they can filter it out, and two, if there's cyanotic contamination in the filters through the air scrubbers that feed into these tap units.
Yep. Let's go ahead and
So
make that roll for me.
contact.
Base for these people? That's about 50 of them, eh?
Yeah, there was about 50 at one point.
Yeah,
you
but
have
I
a
doubt they have.
success. So, you get 2 successes, or am I crazy?
2 success.
That's 2
It
successes.
is 2 successes. Okay, I don't know why my brain stopped working right there. All right, so 1, the filtration system appears to not effectively filter out this cyanotic agent, and in the scrubbers there is a note: foreign articulate matter, toxicity unknown. Something
So,
along those
and
lines.
I can see like cyanotic residue in the filters.
Yeah,
then
you
if I
get.
test
There's
it.
definitely indicators that there is some foreign
So
matter
I take
picked
a
up.
tube, I scrape some of the filter material in, close it up, put it in the pouch. I go back outside. I scrape some of the ashes from around a body, put it in the tube, tie it up, boom, boom. And it's like, hey guys, I'm ready to go back unless there's something either you two want to check out.
Well, I mean, you're here. Do you want to just grab the data disk and bring it back?
I mean, we can.
That is kind of what
but-
we were here for.
Warren,
Okay,
you do get, at that point, Warren, you get a hand on your shoulder, and Tan leans in. He's like, "Might as well grab it now."
Well,
Let the
I
long
then
data disk flow
if
through you.
that's what Alita and Heath tell me, I ask specifically, hey Matt, do you want us to just grab the data disk now since these guys are past?
Do you think there's any threat near you at this
It looks
point?
like it's I double check my respirator and make sure we have enough time. Because obviously the cyanotic agent is going to be inside these buildings.
Your
Okay.
respirators are still showing green and clean.
Cool. As long as we have enough time to reasonably walk in, get the discs, and walk back out, I'm cool with it. Otherwise, I'd say we need to go back to the vessel to get better suits. Because we're obviously going to be walking into an area where we can't breathe.
So
Yeah.
above board, every indicator you're getting is air around you is currently clean, etc. Getting to the command center, no big issue. There's no indication whatsoever of any sort of contaminant pollutants outside of the normal. It's dusty and shitty out here, but everything seems fine.
And you think the rebreathers are?
Let me say this above board because I'm not sure you're catching my drift.
Mhm.
Octavia's fucking paranoid now.
Sure,
Let's be
that's
clear. She is
totally fine.
paranoid and she's overly cautious now.
Yeah.
And she's saying these recommendations from that perspective.
That's
She's
totally
not
fine.
saying this from just I'm a scientist.
Mhm.
She is also paranoid as fuck.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
wants
I
to
wanted
do
to
it.
make sure that we as
Just so
players
we are
knew
above
what I
board.
was
I'm
saying.
not playing this as a cautious scientist.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
she's paranoid depressed over here hiding in fucking holes and shit.
Yep.
This is not like normal level cautious behavior.
That's totally fair. I wanted
Just
I
above board,
I
so
wanted to
we're
make
clear,
sure
'cause
the
I'm not sure if
players
you're
knew what I
catching
was
it.
putting out.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. Are we going back to the ship, or are we moving forward? That's an answer for you guys.
If the respirators say we have enough time to breathe on respirators to go into the building, then I'm okay with going in.
Yeah, I feel like
We asked.
I feel like
So
you.
to answer your question,
Go ahead.
we asked Matt to answer that question.
Yeah,
Right.
Matt.
So what does Matt say to answer that question?
Matt said, "Is there any threat on ground?" You guys said no. And Matt says, "Do you think you have enough time to get there?" You guys said yes. And do you have a clear path to it?
Yes.
Yes.
The only obstacles on the path is other dead bodies, and that I wouldn't even count.
And
them as
probably the
obstacles.
door that I might have to unlock.
Yeah. And then as far
'Cause
as
we don't have a
your
key card.
air supply, you've got a few hours still at least.
Okay. If you need anything, we can rover our way over there on some ATVs and pick you up. Other than that, have at it.
If you want a recommendation, Captain, if you send Emily out, we can do that part of the charter while Octavia's pulling those data discs.
Yeah. I mean, if Emily wants to go out with Amir and do some basic stuff in this area for
mean-
prospecting, that's fine, but I would recommend you send them out with a full rebreather set in case whatever toxic gases decide to roll through again.
Wait, I was just
Emily
gonna
and
walk
Hamida.
back. I was just gonna walk
Okay.
back and meet her. You guys don't need me. You certainly don't need a scout's help to pull data discs.
Yeah.
I was just
Well,
gonna.
they can
No.
actually roll by on the ATV and pick you up so you don't have to walk while they do their prospector shit.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea of ever sending anyone out by themselves.
No, that's true. And I think Alita and Octavia would be fine going into the building unless there's something really dangerous in there that we don't know about.
So yeah, I think after what if you want to send
Just looks
Quintana
at
out,
Omar
she will link up with Pike and they can go fuck off and go dig rocks a little bit while
Yeah.
Wright and Westcott go look for computer bits.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Once we have all 4 out on the ground, that would be Quintana and the 3 that are already out. Somebody who hasn't already rolled, go ahead and give me that 5d6 roll, please.
Oh.
I have not been paying attention to who's been rolling, so you guys could totally be like, I'm just gonna roll it again. Fuck it. What do we got in here?
That's 2 successes.
Ooh, that's 2 successes. That changes our
good?
conditions slightly. So, first, the 4 outside need to make mobility tests. So let me go ahead and get Quintana's mobility test.
Then you said we
Alright.
have +2 because we're outdoors.
She succeeded, so I'm not gonna re-roll that. But yes, +2 because you are out. Actually, I'll give you 1 because you are outdoors, but you are in and amidst the HAB modules.
I'm not. Emily and I are out prospecting.
Yeah, okay. All right, Pike, you can take that +2. Wright and Westcott do not get that.
Yeah, Westcott falls down.
Okay. I need a second mobility test from Westcott to see if she takes damage. Because she failed her PSR to stay standing, she now has to make a PSR to keep from getting hurt. She's fine. She's fine. No pilot
She
injury.
doesn't. No. No pilot damage. No need for a consciousness roll.
Exactly. I knew you caught it as soon as I said it.
I'm still upset about Rugen Baker.
That's a deep cut. That was like probably close to 2 years ago at this point. Actually, I'm not sure how long ago,
Yeah.
but definitely a year.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a while ago. Okay, so everybody out on the ground is fine. However, I do need to make another roll. Let me see what the conditions are here. Okay, so this one I'm gonna roll.
Just notes.
Okay.
Oh, 1 success.
That means so we have another. This time when it rumbles, it is a deep rumbling. I don't know how else to explain it, but this is like, you know when you get a hunger pain, and it's just like a rumble, but then you get the one big rumbly one that's like a gas pocket erupts? That's actually a really good metaphor for what I'm about to say. You get a very deep rumbling all around you, and out on the horizon, let's say to the south, a massive explosion just bursts from the top of a mountain. And it is all the fire and ash and smoke and whatnot. You even get that, God, you know when a nuclear weapon goes off, you get that first burst that comes out ahead of
Yeah.
everything? Usually
Yes,
that's
I'm
where
very
front.
familiar.
yeah. Usually that's where the EMP is as well. But you see that coming down the mountain as all the little dust and rock and gravel and whatnot get dislocated or displaced.
Duck and cover.
Yeah, there's a
It's a duck and cover
loud.
moment.
That's a loud boom. It takes probably about 10 or 15 seconds. I'm not doing the math. I think that's like 20 or 30 miles. I don't know. It's like,
No, if it's a volcano visible in the distance, standard horizon is 3 miles. mountain sticking up over the edge means it's probably like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We have a couple of seconds warning because we hear it, we feel it, we turn, we look, boom, mountaintop exploding.
Yep.
And let's be clear, volcanoes can throw
Oh
debris
yeah.
for miles.
Oh yeah. They can
So
throw
it's
half
not
that
like the
mountain
ship
at you.
is safe. It's probably having rocks bounce off of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Warren, everybody on the ship, you guys are fine. I'm not gonna make y'all do mobility tests, but you definitely are watching debris coming down as the sensors on the flight deck are like, warning, volcanic eruption detected, or various other inane and unnecessary bits of information are thrown on screens.
So it looks like we're going to get debris and a shockwave wash over us on the ground.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to grab Emily, take her to the ground, and shield her with my body.
Sure.
I was kind of thinking the same thing about West.
Yeah, you guys
Octavia.
You guys have the option. You don't necessarily have to duck and cover on the ground out in the open because you have HAB units that you can duck behind.
Yeah, but they're in the HAB units. They can close the door. We're not in the HAB units.
Yeah. No. I got
we
you.
haven't actually gotten into the buildings, so we're probably next to a HAB unit.
You could definitely
inside.
cower. I shouldn't say cower, but you could definitely curl up
Cower.
against a wall and let it take the brunt of it. Fortunately, as this wave of volcanic ash and bullshit washes over you, it's obvious that these HAB units were built a bit more sturdy than others. They were built different. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
Built for it tough.
Are they the Pike model?
Yeah. Right in Westcott, you guys, as you're getting ready to straighten back up, you notice down in the bottom corner it says "Built for Pikes," stamped into the side. I'm joking. That's obviously not there. But yeah, I mean, other than the initial like shockwave and all that other stuff, and the for the next couple of minutes, debris raining down. After a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, everything calms down. No major damages or anything like that so far, but you definitely see off in the distance that volcano and its lava plume straight up into the air coming down. Lots of ash and smoke. Warren, you're getting indications on your ship that maybe departing soon is a great idea.
So after the shockwave is passed and stuff's just falling around us, he'll get back up and hold a hand to pick her up.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, "You good?"
Yeah, that was. I'm not gonna lie, that was my first volcano, and I don't think I want another one.
They're like,
honestly,
he just says he says it's like artillery. You get used to it.
Fucking Pike thing to say.
Yeah. So
And he's not being
Octavia,
braggy at all. This is just totally like, I'm just trying to be comforting with my one empathy.
So,
Good.
what is my estimate here on how long we should take before we get out of here?
You're getting readings. It's taking a few minutes for it to come in, but eventually you're getting on the order of about 2 or 3 hours most before you start having problems. Assuming that the tectonic situation doesn't increase.
Okay. Team, get her done.
cool. So Octavia double times it into the main facility with Alita. Pops
Alita,
the
right
door
behind you.
right off.
Yeah, the
Doesn't
door
really
opens
care
up.
about.
It's not locked
she
or anything.
pops it, locks it into the open position, and just jogs her ass through the facility to where the core should be.
Okay.
She already had the floor plan, so she knows where she needs to go.
It's not hard. It's not hard to figure it out because you've been around scientists enough in the last year, learning your sciencey stuff, and you've been around the military, so it's not really hard to figure out where all the important command and control stuff is. So it's easy to
Wayland
find.
Yutani is kind of suspicious like that.
Yeah. So you find what could only be described as the master control computer, and you start typing away. Give me your Comtech with all of your Comtech bonuses that come with you, even after I nerfed them.
Look, I legit only have 2 points less of Comtech right now than I did for the entire last campaign.
Do you want to push that?
Oh,
Yes. The
Nervous
fuck
twitch.
did it just do?
Alita goes up by
Okay.
one.
Right?
Cool,
Goes
so
up
was
a
that-
level of stress as well. If she hasn't
Cool.
already auto updated. I'm going to
I
give
do
you two
it
things.
quickly for
Let me-
unexpected information.
You're getting unexpected information, I'm going to say, for free because you got multiple successes. So the first success will give you the long data disk, which shows a series of historical information, log entries, for lack of a better thing to call it. And it looks like somewhere around the 10 or 12 years after the the isolation began, basically when they established the 20 parsec limit, which for those that don't know, viewers and players alike, at some point in the history of the alien universe, all of the colonies that were more than 20 parsecs away from home were effectively cut off because of reasons. There was some legitimate reasons. Mostly that being that far from home, it was really hard to support those colonies, so they were kind of left on their own. 10 or 12 years after that point in time, your log entries, which are more like automated entries, like it's been X amount of time since this, it's been X amount of time since that, or this incident is recorded because somebody got injured, there was a volcanic eruption X distance away, think notes like that. However,
Probably the head of the facility has their personal notes tied into this
yeah,
for
yeah,
context.
yep. And then the final entry is dated probably about 15 years after the cutoff or the isolation, and that's the
So
last
like 30 years ago?
Yeah, rough, something like that. It's been a while. It's been about a generation's worth of time since the last
about
main
30
entry.
years.
All of the other entries have been standard computerized entries of day such and such, power lever such and such, whatever. All completely automated entries, no manual or personal entries.
They've been dead for like 30 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I scoop my info and I double time my ass back towards the ship.
One
There is
entry
zero
you
lingering
do
here.
see, and this is your unexpected but free information. One entry you do see, and I'm gonna have to kind of read / paraphrase this. There is a record found buried in the colony's computers, a data file containing hundreds of images collected from an alien source. Once you've got the long data disk, and once you start reading through it, there is an entry pointing to an alien, and it uses the actual quotes, vessel of life. Pouring through the files. Actually, before I read the rest of it, do you want to peruse this information now, or do you want to wait?
I download it all.
Uh-huh.
The last thing I do before we leave the facility is I check the cryo records to make sure there's nobody left on ice.
Ooh, that's a good one. So this takes.
I don't want to leave a cryopod with the body in it to get consumed by lava.
Yeah, you get as part of this is what you get for your second success. You get a roster of all the personnel and the number of people. You take a few minutes to read through this, right? The number of people on the roster matches the number of dead bodies.
I mean, I'm not checking the bodies. I'm checking the actual logs of cryo to make sure it's not the system isn't turned on.
Yeah, no, none of that's on. What it looks like, all the information you've seen is that all the bodies on the ground.
Nobody's on ice.
Yeah, there's nobody. There are no survivors. Effectively, is what you're coming with.
Okay. So I scoop all the information as much as possible, and I take all the bits and pieces we can. I even snag in some extra hard drives if I think it'll be beneficial, and I want to be back at the ship. Like, I don't want to take more than 15 minutes to do this, if at all possible.
Okay.
I want to be in and out of this door in this building in 15 minutes because I don't like lava.
Okay. Give me
like that. I'm just trying to give you a time.
How about this?
We're jogging to it, get all that. And
it'll take you getting the long data disk, reviewing the records to kind of see what has happened and help determine whether or not there's extra people laying around. That sounded bad, but you get the idea. And then finding that roster and kind of doing, there's 20 here, there's 20 out there. All right, looks like we're not leaving anybody behind. I'm not seeing entries about cryopods or anything like that. That time is going to take about 15 or 20 minutes, and then you see this additional record, Vessel of Life, alien source. Do you grab that information?
Download it.
Download it. Okay.
I shuffle it onto the hard drives and pull them.
Okay. All right.
Several bytes per second download speed.
Yeah, it takes about 20
years.
Yeah, like
I don't. It's not like I'm literally going through, opening up the bag, making sure everything's on the hard drives, turning the system off, and going hard drive, hard drive, hard drive, hard. I've been in a data center, so I know how that works. There's typically a little like release lever, and then you just pull them all because they all have handles. And I'm walking back with like 10 kilos worth of hard drives.
That would be about 25 pounds or so for those of us that don't use non-freedom units. Or
yeah, I'm only expecting like a single server rack of drives. If it's more than one, it's going to be a lot of weight, and I'm making Alita carry some.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say you guys get all the pertinent information.
I
Uh,
literally
little
steal
help.
every hard drive out of their servers.
Yep.
So for Emily, like
Yes.
we hear the same call over comms, like hustle the fuck up. And as far as Pike's concerned, like this isn't his monkey. So when Emily's packed up and heading back, unless he gets an order to like move her, he doesn't determine what like the minimum work she needs to do is.
Yeah, I'm going through what
I
she's
doubt
doing.
she can do much of anything
Here we go.
other than collect like a couple of little baby samples and run the fuck home.
Yeah, so she ends up spending probably 20 minutes or so doing a bunch of like, she's out there with the science fiction version of a garden shovel, the one that's like about this long, and just kind of scooping shit, throwing it in bags.
She's got one of those like circular, like
Yeah.
the circle drills
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you dig
And then she's
down
got like
and then
this
you get
big
like a core
tube.
sample
Yeah,
of core samples. Yeah.
yeah. She's definitely she's out there collecting samples.
She puts it in a tube, hands it over her shoulder to Pike, and says what to label it as, and he
Yeah.
does like the slow work of labeling it and putting it in a bag. And
Yep.
he's trying to help.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes like 20 or 30 minutes, and and I feel like there's probably like 2 or 3 different spots. So like you go like several hundred meters that way, then you go several hundred meters that way, grabbing a handful of samples.
On an ATV.
What's that?
On the ATV.
Yeah.
Running.
Because I sent her out.
Oh,
with
you did?
one
Oh,
of
yeah,
those-
yeah, yeah. In that case, yeah, they could definitely go several hundred meters, and you probably get like 3 or 4 digs.
Mhm.
And then eventually, I imagine we all make it back to the ship. And Warren, it's up to you whether or not you. Sounds dumb. Whether or not you want to go back to orbit.
Right? If Octavia runs up the ramp the ATV comes down, then Heath has no problem driving up and just driving straight up in the ATV. He's gonna quarantine if she does, and if she doesn't, he's not.
Yeah. I don't think we need to, because if the ramp dropping would have gotten the dust on the inside of the vehicle bay, so we'll probably be hosing everything down to get the nasty ass dust off of everything.
Oh, that's right. I did forget about that situation.
Yeah. So we're
Mm.
going to be cleaning the inside of
ATV.
this vehicle bay.
Yeah. Which is surprisingly.
God,
got
don't you
a-
miss having grunts?
Yeah.
Hey,
There,
you
I
brought a
remember a
sibling for that.
cutscene. I remember a cutscene where he was like, "I really miss having grunts."
Yeah.
God.
That's gonna
I
be the
say
recurring
that
theme.
too. Because I come back on and I see the dust layered over everything in this cargo bay, and I'm like, God, thank God we at least use sealed containers. But we got some
Well,
fucking cleaning to do.
I think it would have went up as soon as the ramp was no longer in use, and then would have went down to pick you guys back up, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
If
That
you
sounds
want
like
it that way.
that sounds like a SOP or protocol that you would establish. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how long do
He
we
doesn't
leave the
just-
bay down?
He doesn't leave
Probably
it hanging
not
open,
very
basically.
long. No.
Yeah, only as long as it's needed. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Get out. Let's get out of here.
all right.
Woo, we're out in less than an hour.
You head back up into orbit, and you can choose to stick around for a little while in orbit, observing the situation, or you can start setting a course and start heading out, or you can start looking through some of the samples and stuff that you've picked up from the surface.
I mean, if you want
One.
to turn in a completed survey report, then we need to finish the survey report before we go on ice.
Yeah, we
that's what I was
actually
thinking.
aren't done
so Emily,
here.
yeah. So
We
Emily,
have 6 other quadrants to test.
I leave it up to you. You don't necessarily have to. This
Um,
was the only one that had anything of super major importance, but you could, in theory, go and do all that stuff. If you guys want to check out other parts of the planet, we'll do that off screen, off air. Like,
Okay.
it'll be implied that you guys did it. There's a couple of notes I want to hit on. I imagine at some point you're going to want to look at this vessel of life, or maybe not.
So,
Where is the vessel of life?
It is in the records that you've scooped.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
did you declare those records to me at all, or are you keeping that under yourself?
I would
Because
have.
Alita would be like, I don't know what that was about.
Yeah. So Alita wouldn't know because I'm the only one who's seen it so far.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is Alita and I walk back through the airlock by the cargo doors because we're
Mhm.
not going through quarantine. We get in there, we hose down.
Mhm.
I call up and say, hey, I got the long data disk and I got some other really interesting information I think we need to take time to examine before we leave orbit.
Did you call me specifically, or does Tam hear
I'm
this?
intercomming up to the flight deck.
So
Hmm.
PA or
Yeah,
Okay.
PA intercom.
yeah. So Tam
Same thing.
hears it. He's like, all right, let's bring that stuff up to the flight deck. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's in the data disk.
We're gonna need to do it in one of the science bays. You guys don't there. You can't slot hard drives into the flight deck. Come on now.
All right. Well,
I'm
I guess
teasing
That
Tan a
sounds
little bit.
reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm
Sounds
teasing
reasonable.
him
Yeah,
with a
that's
teasing
fine.
tone.
That's fine. I think he's not gonna
It's like,
catch.
hey, Tan,
I think he's not.
you know
I think
we
he's
need
also
to go
a
to
little
the
bit of a
science
nerd
bay.
in some ways, so he's not gonna catch that right away. He's like, all right, fine, we'll do it. We'll head on down there.
Yeah, so-
I'm gonna help Emily bring her shit up to her lab and help her get that shit organized so she can start working on it.
Yeah, because there's
Mhm.
probably a lab for electronics and data. There's probably a lab for atmospherics and geology.
Yeah,
And then there's
Mhm.
probably the third lab is xenobiology.
probably. Yeah, that sounds right.
So I go up to the signals lab, and she's probably right next door in the geology and atmospherics lab.
Yep. All right, so let's do the Vessel of Life because that sounds more interesting to me. Unless you guys
Okay.
want to do the other one first.
Well, that's the NPC doing paperwork. I don't feel the need to roleplay that.
Maybe Pike is there. Maybe she wants to make small talk with Pike.
Okay, Pike, would
All
you
right,
like
you know
to
what?
have an
You know what?
RPC?
I'll solve this one for you. Like, you're in there helping her out as she runs her samples through various scientific equipment that makes absolutely no sense. There's some shit that spins. There's some shit that burns. There's some shit that like looks like water, but you're not really sure. It doesn't smell like water, which it sounds odd when you think about it, because water doesn't have a smell, but this does. Or maybe you've got it backwards. You're not really sure. All you know is after about 30, 45 minutes, she's like, huh. So at some point there obviously was, I know this is going to be a surprise, a volcanic eruption nearby. There was a thin layer of dust that somehow, when it was in the air, seems like it must have clocked off everything that had, well, oxygen in it. And that must have been what killed the colonists.
So they just died to bad environmental luck.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to phrase it. The volcano blew up, kicked a bunch of bad dust into the air, and they choked to death. Or, well, they didn't seem like they were, choked to death dead. They seemed more like they just stopped breathing. But I guess it's the same thing.
That still sounds like a pretty shit way to die.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine getting up, going to get a cup of coffee, hearing some rumble, and then a few minutes later you're just dead? They had no warning.
Yeah.
Now, do you see why Octavia has been paranoid about making sure everyone's wearing their fucking respirators?
You're busy going through your computer stuff. Shush.
The over to player peanut gallery commentary.
So
I had to.
So is this geology stuff, right?
God, why did that sound like it hurt you to say that word? It's geology. Don't stress.
Right.
Anyway, you were saying?
This is, yeah, rockology is geology.
Yes,
Yeah.
rocks, dirt. Yes.
Right. So is that what you do? Is that
I
are you a
I am not
geologist?
A genie.
I think at some point she literally face palms. And she's like, "You're going to hurt yourself," which is going to be funny to watch because you're a really big guy.
Look, it might not look like it, but I do try to learn.
Okay, that's amazing. Geologist, I am not. I'm a prospector, but that includes knowing things about how rocks form and later become money.
Hmm.
So yes, geology is. I gotta know some.
Did you find any money in any of that?
I don't know. You got a use for death dust? Don't answer that. I know you were in the Marines.
Like, yeah, but this might come as a shock to you, but I wasn't an egghead in the Marines.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I mean, maybe when we check out the other parts of the planet, there'll be some stuff because there's some indicators that there's plenty of. I mean, this is obviously a high metal content kind of world, so there's probably going to be some good stuff to dig out of the dirt. But doing it next to a volcano is not a good idea.
Yeah, tripping hazards.
Yes,
I
choking hazards even.
choking hazards too. I will certainly never pretend to know anything I don't know, but this is actually more interesting than I thought it would be.
Yes, rocks can do more than make sound when you clack them together.
Or make wet noises
I don't
when
want
you
to
throw them.
imagine that as she says that, she has two small rocks and she's just like, clack, Clack. Clack.
No,
Just
they
Hey.
also make wet noises depending on what you throw them at.
I'm laughing. She's giving
he-
you a somewhat perplexed and concerned look.
And he smiles like he made a joke.
I think as the camera pans into the other science lab, she does one of those like she turns around and just goes back to typing something on the computer. She's like, I don't know what to say to that. Octavia, you pour through this information. What you begin to piece together is that at some point it looks as though the scientists found what can only be described as a book. There's an image. In fact, there's a lot of
Okay.
images in this.
So-
Let's call it a database. Let me get through explaining what you see, and then we can do Q&A. Okay? Because I've got a number of things here. What it looks like is they found a book, and kind of a loosely. It's not entirely accurate, but it's probably the closest word. Imagine a stack, like a big fat stack of really thin slate tablets wired together to form what otherwise would be a book, but instead of paper or something more malleable,
It'd be like
it's-
cuneiform tablets.
yes, but
Like the
wired
clay
together
tablets.
in a binding of sorts. What was found is that on each side of these pages was an image of some sort of land, sea, or air creature, and then some etchings in one corner that, while alien in nature and never decoded, almost seems like this was like a book of, like a picture book. And here's a swan, and in this picture we have an earthworm, and in this picture we have a fish of some sort. What the scientists here did when they found this, they took an image, they took a picture of everything they could about this book. So you get multiple images of everything. A final journal entry into the long data disk indicates that the researchers who had found this artifact concluded that much of the alien life depicted was either from another world or were once from this world but went extinct long ago. And the etchings, the scratches or whatever at the corners of each page, look like alien words or phrases, could be data recorded in reference to the alien life forms.
So one, I would set up a secure system to plug this shit in so that it doesn't touch anything else on the ship.
Mhm.
So before we even get to that part, it's okay, I'm racking stuff into an isolated server so
Yes.
it can't touch anything else.
Yep.
I don't trust them not to have computer viruses.
Yeah. Fair enough is
So
one of
that
them.
means you can only access them from the terminal plugged into the server rack in this lab.
Yep.
So, and I'm not letting the others connected to anything else to move the data around. So it's information security air gap process. And then I would be I would actually probably plug, you know, that really irritating paper that's like ream that's connected, that's like folds back and forth with like little perforated edges, that just is a continuous print.
Think
Yes.
so?
Have you seen those printers?
Think so?
Yes.
Yeah. I print off the logs on that.
When you say
And then
logs,
Tam-
you mean every log entry on the data disk and the Vessel of Life stuff? Okay.
I start with the data disk first.
Okay.
Because I refuse to allow the electronic data to move from these disks to the ship.
So you're
and I
creating a
figure
paper hard
Tan-
drive or paper hard
I'm
copy.
making a paper copy for Tan.
Okay.
I start at printing before he even gets in here. And I look at Tan and go, I don't trust plugging their stuff into the ship, so I'm printing it for you. Please recycle the paper when you're done. Or keep it, I don't care. But if you want to keep that much paper, you're going to have to put it in storage
I feel
yourself.
like it's
'cause
going to end up being a. Excuse me, I feel like you're going
boxes
to
of
definitely go
paper.
through at least a full box of paper, if not more.
Yeah, he's going to end up with several file boxes worth of these by the time it's done printing. I refuse to let him to do the
At
electronic thing.
I almost want to say at one point you end up with a higher weight of your ship or higher mass than you started with, but that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, so I use up a lot of paper to
You
give
probably have
Tan
to change
all
the ink
his
cartridges
notes.
at least once as well.
And while it's printing, I'm sitting here and I'm showing them the other records about the alien shit.
Yeah, I think Tan is
So
losing
at
his
a
mind.
minimum, that's me Tan, and Matthew seeing this.
I think Tan just looks at Warren.
Hey, so guys, as a side note, I also let you know there was not anybody on ice, so the cryo was down there empty, and we saw no other signs of life. So I don't think we're abandoning anybody to the Lavalos. It's a little unfortunate we can't collect the bodies, but it's not worth risking people's lives to bury bodies when there's an active volcano.
Yeah, I think somewhere along the way, like a few hours after you guys lifted off again, you get I almost wanted to say a weather update.
We're doing
It's not a weather-
flyovers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we're
I imagine
orbiting?
so. Yeah. I think like a couple orbital passes later, you'll see that there's an update that a massive lava flow has come through, and while it doesn't quite destroy the facility, it certainly comes close enough to be a very major concern for returning anytime in the near future.
Yeah, there is no landing pad anymore.
Yeah, the landing pad's definitely gone.
Probably the outer hab units too.
Probably, or at the very least, like just getting there would be super difficult because of the way the terrain is.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile,
Beyond
Pike is
that-
just enjoying that every time you guys are like hopping up and down for these like geological surveys while you guys are discussing and analyzing and doing whatever. Pike has no idea. He's just helping Emily. So she can do
He's
her report.
enjoying. Hey,
It's his
does
job.
Pike learn to take a like a like a core sample with a giant drill that he then pulls up and then gets this tube of rock? Has he done that yet?
Only if Emily lets him.
I
But
think
he's
at
not
some
asking
point
to
we-
do anything either.
I think at some point she'll show him how to work a basic core extraction.
Like she drills it down and she's trying like showing how he got to do like move it a certain way in order to be able to pull it out. And he's like, oh, and he just grabs it and rips it out of the ground.
And she's like, "Man, you're useful."
Okay. So yeah, I think you guys spend the next few days going over this planet, putting together all your reports. You don't really get anything.
Tan gets several file boxes worth of paper
Oh,
for
yeah.
his personal records that
And
he can then
I think
submit later.
I think you see a lot of. I think every now and again, as the camera floats from one group doing one thing to another group doing another thing, eventually, every time it comes back to Tan, it's just Tan in his personal quarters or whatever, flipping through this report. We come
He
back
can
like,
either
it's
read
like
the
it is
paper,
clear that
or he
hours
can
and
sit in
hours
the
and hours
lab.
and hours are going by, and it's just Tan reading this report.
So yeah, he can have the paper, or he can sit on the stool in front of the computer tied into the lockdown air gap server.
Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah.
I
no worries.
figured he's a gentleman who would like the paper because paper copies are probably going to be submitted along with the hard drives once we get back to space.
So you spend the next several days
Town.
going through the different regions of the planet. Nothing major, nothing significant comes up other than obviously the information you guys already have in the handout. So you'll know that in character as well. Cap, where do you want to go next? This is mostly out of character at this point. You've got two options remaining. You've got the Gorham's Colony and you got Brahm's Outpost. What's your next destination? So I can prep your next adventure.
Brahms and Gorham.
Uh,
What were they like again?
Brahms was the super cold one built on the side of an active volcano, and Gorham's was the multi-million population mining colony.
Correct. It's a volcanic
Hmm.
trend right now.
Yeah, it kind of
suppose-
implied that Brahms had a few hundred people, and
Yeah.
then Gorham's was like a multi-million person,
Yeah,
major big deal,
Gorham's
deepest
Colony
mining
was the one
bullshit.
that had registered up to 1 million colonists at some point, and has also the site of the deepest mine, drill, whatever. Brahms
Just a
was
whole
a.
drill.
I'm sorry.
Just a whole drill.
Yep. And then Brahms was the one that was like super super cold, but it also had some different resources that were available. Cerium, lithium, aluminum, and methane.
Okay, let's go to Brahms. Dip our toes a little bit further into this mayhem
Okay.
as we go closer to Gorham's, which is going to be probably our real test of how we handle larger
Colonies and
city
whatnot.
spots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Start
I mean,
dealing
if you
with large groups of people.
register 1 million people and then you have to negotiate that they need to change their government to be subservient to another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun with that.
You know, like 12 of us.
I like how he's like, you said that so deadpan. That was amazing. Yeah, negotiate with all these people to change their governmental way of life, and good luck.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's-
just
Have you
It's
played
not a-
Crusader Kings 3 lately? That might help you.
I mean, it's
there's
not
12
a
of
pipe.
us.
It's not a pipe problem unless
Unless there's
Matt
shooting
decides it. Unless Matt decides he wishes for it to be a pipe problem.
involved.
If it becomes a fight problem, it'll be solved.
All right. Let's do some experience points.
Okay.
Oh, I have something to give you just real quick before we deal with Gorham's Mine next week.
Sure.
I gave you a YouTube video.
The deepest mine disaster in North America. Oh, that sounds scary. Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, I would not watch the videos from that particular person if you can't tolerate horror.
Claustrophobia type stuff.
No, it's actually a horror podcast.
Oh, gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
It talks about real disasters that are horrifying in their individual ways. And while they don't explicitly describe what happens to people, you get the overview.
You get a distinct snapshot, I'm sure.
So just so we're clear, you remember that last mine I was at and how I was a little weird? It's because I had already discovered this podcast and I've already watched several of them. So I want to share the horror of mining disasters with you in preparation for that for next week.
Yeah, it sounds
Sorry,
like we
not
should,
sorry.
We should have had that one for that one mining mission that y'all went on.
Yeah, I didn't think of it until now.
It's okay.
But so sorry, but also really not. Welcome to the club. You get to
Mm.
embrace the mental stuff I have.
All right,
the-
mandatory fun day. Calm down. You know who I'm talking
Dude
about.
actually does several podcasts, including one on like mega projects and stuff. So the other stuff he does is also very interesting. This is just the horror podcast series. That's the scary interesting.
Gotcha. All right, let's do some experience points. Did you participate? Yes. Obviously, the ground crew risked or sacrificed something to further. Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase that. Did you risk or sacrifice something to further your agenda?
No, I did not.
Okay. Anybody
I
else?
mean,
Mm,
I don't think Pike
I
really
don't
did
think-
either.
I don't think there's anything overtly dangerous enough
Yeah.
to justify it.
Did you risk your life for your buddy? Don't
I
think
No.
don't think
anybody.
anybody risked their lives.
I think the only one that really came close was Pike, and that was more reflexive of like, oh, well, something weird's happening, so let me shield this other person with my body.
But it wasn't my buddy because I can't have an NPC be my buddy.
Correct.
mhm.
Did you challenge or stand up to your rival? I don't think anybody really stood up to anybody except maybe Tan because he's just a jackass.
So Alita's still listed as my rival, and I've been getting along with her. It's the point where I might not have a rival. Or I might have a friendly rivalry with Alita once my character is less depressed.
I'm
Mm,
down with either one.
I don't have a rival right now.
mm.
Although I'm waiting for Warren to do something that pisses off Pike.
I
Yeah.
know. Matthew is now my rival because as soon as I have one day where my ass is not getting out of bed because I failed my role, he's suddenly going to be super pissed with me.
Yeah, he's gonna go full
Oh,
captain
yeah.
mode.
Yeah, so
Hey,
my rival is
I
now
need
Matthew.
those TPS lab reports now, damn it! And that is the second or third night I've got TPS report. Oh no, that was Sunday. It was Sunday. I did the TPS report reference.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. God, there was a handful of panic rolls, and it's getting hard to count them now because of the way that the game just auto does them. So who
Yeah,
did
so
who
I
did
got a
panic?
panic.
Pike, Westcott. Did anybody else
You
do a
can't
panic?
say Westcott. There's 3 Westcotts on the ship.
I
It's
know.
Octavia.
I keep forgetting.
We took the W theme and we added NPCs to your W
Yeah, I know.
problems.
You can go fuck yourself. So
Hey.
Octavia did, Pike did. Did anybody else? I don't remember.
No.
Okay, so just those two. Ground crew overcame a dangerous event.
Yes.
I will
Kind
argue
of.
every day that a volcano nearby is a dangerous event. I don't care who you are. You were getting debris
Yes.
from it. That counts. Those of you on the ship, however, you're fine.
Yeah.
Significant discovery or revelation. Absolutely
Yes.
Octavia.
I think
And
that would
Matt.
include
Warren,
everyone
probably.
because unless Matthew and Tan are specifically hiding the information, I would not hide it from the crew if they ask about it.
Tan isn't hiding it, but he isn't broadcasting either, if that makes sense. So, like, if anybody were to
Mm.
bring it up, he would talk about what he's seen from the reports he's read so far. It's going
Mhm.
to take him several days to get through all of that.
I don't know that Pike is the type to be that kind of nosy. I think somebody would have to be like, "Hey, we saw something," you know. It's just not in
Yeah,
his nature.
see,
So then that would
you've
mean
been
only
distracted.
Matthew and Octavia would qualify for it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I wouldn't overtly share it with Alita or Pike or Heath,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if Matthew would either. And I just think we're adding it to the report. For me, it doesn't seem like a big thing worth sharing. The
Yeah,
same
'cause
way
it doesn't seem like
that
it doesn't seem like something to blacklist either because it's like a book and some information involved and about some sort of like predecessor or something. I don't know. So whatever.
All right.
yeah,
So
I think they would learn
Octavia
about it
and-
eventually because I would
Yeah.
have it up and be looking at it, but we're not classifying it. We're just
Yeah.
not advertising it either.
Yeah.
Like who
So I
would
think as far
advertise
as-
writing reports?
As far as the experience point for that goes, then yeah, just Octavia and Warren.
Okay.
Did we have any extraordinary actions? I don't think we did.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
We all qualify for making money though.
Mm,
No.
Yes, you did because
apparently
you
not at the-
insisted our prospecting was done off screen.
yes. Assuming yes, because you're moving on to another planet. Yes. Go ahead. Everybody take that last one because you did file a report for Platte's Outpost.
Okay. I just want to remind you that in the future you might not want to take the prospecting off screen because otherwise we're just going to auto qualify for it.
No,
because
that's
this is a
fine.
planet with prospecting on it.
The one main reason why, like, so when I wrote Platte's Outpost, I intended it for it to be roughly a single session, and so
Yeah.
Mhm.
given where we were and the time left, it made more sense to just be like, all right, yeah, the rest of that stuff was off screen. I didn't have anything written for that, the other quadrants or whatever, so
Mm-hmm.
it didn't
Well,
make
in the
any sense to
future,
do
can
that.
we should at least take the time to do a couple rolls on behalf
we could definitely do that in the
of,
future.
of Emily
Mm.
because it's not like
Mm.
she's doing it by herself. She's going down and taking the samples. I'm probably helping her process them over the course of several days. So it's not
Yeah.
like she's doing it by herself.
Yeah,
And Pike is helping her collect them.
yeah, we could definitely do that moving forward.
But yeah, just as a side note in the future, because there is at least one quadrant on the planet that's in the positives. So there's at least
Yeah.
one deposit on this place.
yeah, there's definitely one spot where you might want to consider. Well, actually, there's two. You could. No, that's a. That was. A
Yeah,
spoiler.
there's only one
That
place
was
with
a
positive
spoiler.
modifier.
That was a spoiler. Damn it! You got another spoiler out of me.
I like to imagine he's definitely not there yet, but I'd like to imagine at some point, like he will impress upon Emily that he doesn't have to understand a set of instructions to follow a set of instructions.
This is true. This is true.
So he could probably like speed up a lot of her prospecting stuff and like do like a stamina roll for like doing all the like grabbing shit, labeling and putting in balls and trying to like go out and do that grunty field shift for her.
Yeah, I mean, listen, digging a hole is still digging a hole, no matter who's digging it. You know?
And he's dug a lot of holes in his time.
Yeah, I'm sure he has. We call them Ranger graves, but you know, whatever.
Yeah,
18
so,
inches deep and just big enough for you to lay in.
and when it's not him digging holes, it's him standing guard.
Yeah.
On places where that might be hostile. While she's digging the holes. So either way, he's still doing a job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I like the idea that Pike is specifically. No, let me rephrase that. Pike is actively looking for his niche role on the ship. This is what I do.
He hates doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's trying to be helpful and he sees it as like he sees it as returning the favor
Mm-hmm.
to Matt for bringing him here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Pike will have a job on the ship as soon as Octavia fails the depression roll at the beginning of the day, because Matt is going to be pissed that she's just hiding someplace and not doing any work at all, and somebody's going to have to go drag her out and make her do work.
It's gonna be Pike, babysitter.
Because
Pike.
he's not assigned to any other tasks. It almost has to be Pike.
Almost. Luke,
And-
you got anything? Any sort of feedback, outro, comments?
Let's see.
Your character didn't
The
do a
Kessel
whole
run.
lot, but he's also the guy in charge, so he did a whole lot by proxy.
So no, pretty much the Rugen Baker thing is the funny part of the episode for me. Still thinking about that. He punched a king crab to death with a thunderbolt.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what the scenario was. I just remember he died.
He died. Yeah, he died when a king crab fell on him after he blew it up.
Was that what it was?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh man, Kane, Rodance, you guys got anything else?
Oh, you guys are lucky. So for both sessions so far, Octavia has cleared her depression checks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've
It's going to
noticed that as
become a
well.
problem, and Matthew is going to become my rival very quickly when she stops. Because you know how previously I was playing her depression checks as she's just grumpy and having a
Mhm.
bad day or is angry?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
doesn't
This
get out of
version
bed.
of her failure is going to be she's hiding and not doing work and not getting out of bed. It's not going to be
Mhm.
like she was as a Marine. So when she
Mhm.
fails, I'm planning on playing it as actively antagonistic to the job,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
as
totally fine.
opposed to socially like emotionally antagonistic towards the other members if they mess with her shit.
Mhm.
Because
So
it's
it's a different
progressed.
kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
She just hasn't failed that check yet, but it will become an issue. Like she will become a problem for Matthew because she's having depression episodes, not because she's mean to Matthew.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Right.
but that makes sense. And like what Luke just said, like over time, this is just how it's progressed and manifested now. Earlier, it might have
Mhm.
been a little bit less intrusive or less of a pain in the ass when you failed,
Well,
but
she
now it's
had the
gotten the
structure
chance.
of the military to
Yeah,
enforce her role.
yeah,
There is
Mhm.
not nearly as much structure here.
yeah. It's a lot more open ended and loosey goosey. Yeah, Matt's in charge, but it doesn't have the same weight as, hey, you're still a fucking Marine. Get your ass up. Let's go.
Yeah. Command rules and so on and
Mhm.
so forth.
Yep. Any
And
other?
Pike was a very strongly personality commander.
Oh yeah, absolutely, he was very strong willed. Any
Mhm.
other outro
Great
comments or
face, I'm
feedback?
sorry.
What?
Strongly personality commander. Okay, it's 1 a.m. Apparently, my sense of humor has gotten a little weird.
I
If you
just
guys
couldn't
don't get
quite
that
make out
joke.
what you had just said. So
Yeah, it's Pike is a strongly personality commander.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, yeah. Listen, you, I'm gonna be amused because I'm me. I obviously cannot sit here and judge anybody else for shit grammar because I shit grammar.
That was shitty grammar on purpose because it was funnier that way.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. All right, let's get out of here. That is it for us here tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please consider pushing all the buttons, like, subscribe, and sharing, and all that other stuff. If you're watching one of our shows live, you can type !Discord into the stream chat to get our Discord invite handle link thingy. Otherwise, in the description in the YouTube video, you'll find that link there as well. Meanwhile, stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a crazy dark place, so make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. And as for me and mine, we're out of here. See you next time. Have a good one.